Ah, jeez, that was quick. Sorry, happened so fast. I didn't realize it happened. It was already happening before I realized it had happened. All right, testing. A little late for that, I suppose. So it appears to be live. It seems to me. Appears to be. I guess we'll do a little test here. Make sure everything is working.
I suppose.
Yep, that seems to be working.
So it appears.
Yeah, it's very quickly working, actually. Default view. Okay, that seems appropriate. All right, so evil Ken guy is actually doing a room tonight, I think, late. So we'd be treading on each other. Yeah, there it is, midnight live stream. See what kind of bullshit he's talking about at the moment. Just for fun.
This is so strange. I mean, I almost blew a gasket. I got so pissed.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I blew a gasket. Literally, the reason someone was drilling into my house while I was asleep this morning was due to drugs.
Yes. Stop
the
doing
reason
that.
someone was drilling into my house while I was asleep this morning was because of drugs.
You already said that.
Except it was the utility company doing it. How do you think that happened? How is that possible?
I don't know.
How are drugs related to somebody illegally drilling holes into the side of my damn house? So I wake up and there's this shit hanging on my door. And it says, we have installed the energy-saving feature onto your house that you have requested. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I went onto the side of my house, and someone drilled holes into the side of my house.
Yes.
And they installed this little box. Like, if your air conditioner is running all the damn time in the summertime, it will, like, shut your air conditioner off for a little while. You know? Which stresses your air conditioner. It's like, I never ordered this. So I called up the utility company. I threw a shit fit. Threatened to sue them. And then, like, 3 phone calls later, I finally got a hold of the manager. And then, he chewed the guy out for installing it, and I said, you better remove it today. So the guy that installed it came out, he's like, he looks like Dr. Phil, he's in his mid-50s, and he's limping really bad. I was like, are you all right, man? He's like, yeah, I broke my foot. And he was like, I installed it on the wrong house. I was like, oh, really? So the utility company drilled holes in the side of my goddamn house.
All right, so...
And then installed this bullshit that I never ordered.
Right.
It was meant...
Right, somebody made a mistake. Oh, gee, what a horrible thing. Somebody made a mistake. Oh, God, a mistake happened. Yeah. All right, well, anyway, enough of that. Yeah, so, yeah, I don't really care. Yes, I don't. So anyway, physics, back to physics. Hopefully. I thought he was going to talk about cameras. Yeah, well, I guess he'll get to lenses, right? He doesn't really even talk about cameras, right? They're just obsessed with lenses now, which I really don't. You know, I looked up a couple of the lenses he mentioned, $700, $800. You're like, people pay that kind of money for the lenses, and then you find out they pay like $3,000 and shit. You're just like, what? For a lens? You people is fucking crazy. I mean, you know, what? You know, a lens? I'm gonna pay $3,000 for lenses? Fuck that. I mean, it just seemed kind of silly. I mean, I wouldn't pay $500 for a camera, let alone a fucking lens. I mean, that's just insane. My opinion. I just don't see how the lens can do that kind of magic. So you either got a picture to take or you don't. You know, I just doesn't make any sense to me. Not even close to any sense to me at all. But anyway, you know, I just don't relate to it. I love taking pictures, like pictures, but I just can't see doing this, you know, $10,000 camera thing. Just doesn't make any sense. So anyway, yeah, unless you're doing sports photography or something, I mean, some kind of, you know, I don't even, like I said, I still don't get it. at night or something, right? But anyway, so physics. So anyway, yeah, my last video I think was a good, nice. Most of it was pretty flowed right along, made my points. Bang, 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 bang. Got the job done. So it's getting easier. I just have to keep the focused and continue to make the argument that it's all it's just so poorly evidenced. And that's what this really is. This is a Columbo thing. Show, detective work. That's what science is, and they're just done really. They've been really sloppy detectives. Just jumping at all the little canards and all the. It's like the real murderers just set up a little bit of little tiny distractions, and they've fallen for every one of them, kind of a thing, and really just made a horrible mess of it, and it starts with the two-slit thing. It starts with the whole wave theory, actually. I mean, it still was, there's certain facts, that you just can't get around when it comes to stuff like light. And it doesn't do anything like a wave. I mean, even the shadow having a little bit of a fuzz to it, it's more of a focal length issue. But, it's just such a small amount of the light, in a sense, that goes around objects, and we know a lot of that's this atmosphere thing. And so you get rid of the atmosphere doing the whatever you call that, the scattering. A lot of that goes away, and I just I'm sort of just analyzing shadows now, and how it just depends on the sourcing of light. If you have one source, you get a sharper shadow, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I mean, it's just nothing like what a water wave would do in terms of you put a stick in the ocean, the water goes right around the stick. It's a completely different phenomenon than what happens with light. Yeah, so that's point A. And even water is an indication, in the sense that water is made of these molecules, and the molecules have to go around things, and there's adhesion and all that kind of stuff. And so like I said, you can also know that the photons are going to be susceptible to any electrons they meet along their way, and it's going to change their pattern. That's what scatter points out to us also. I mean, it's just evidence is all around us that light is reflected by molecules of matter. And that's a common phenomenon. And the real fact is that it's this quantum electrodynamic thing. It's the relationship between electrons and photons. That's the real game being played. So anyway, but then you get into the other elements of this, which are the Einstein, the liabilities of Einstein's mush, of the stupid bent space thing, and that has creates all kinds of logic problems, in the sense that it takes a whole big pile of energy out of the real universe, turns it into this bent space stuff, and therefore it's not available to be part of the cycle of conservation inside the rest of the mechanics. And so that's why they're left with no explanation for these other sources of force. So they end up calling them virtual photons, because they use them up with bent space and they don't realize that they're really bent space times. I mean, that's magnetism, and the virtual photons they're blaming for some of the activities inside of atoms. Now they're blaming on virtual photons, and clearly there are tons left over from the bent space thing that you threw away when you took half the universe and slid it off of the conservation table. Oh, it's not even half the universe. It's like most of the universe, most of the energy in the universe. Um, yeah, and then the whole idea of what proved Einstein's theory correct on relativity is this subtle, stupid lensing argument that because of relativity and time dilation, that somehow the photons are now in the sun's gravity for twice as long because they've been time dilated, which is nonsense. But regardless, uh, and that somehow this theory is correct because they've never repeated the experiment. They never really established it with hard evidence in the first place, and it's just evidence of how weak the whole thing is. It's just a parade. It's like they made the floats for the parade. They did all this stuff, and it was like, well, we're not canceling the parade. So they had to just keep making excuses to have the parade, and screw the purpose or the function. We're just in a parade mode. So, but yeah, that's just another bad explanation for like the biggest, most substantial force in the universe, gravity, is now misdescribed. So we got photons and electrons are floating around in no location. Gravity is not a functioning force. It's some magical bent stuff that doesn't make any sense in 3 dimensions. Like I said, it's not bent in 3 dimensions. In 3 dimensions, there's some other word for it, but you can't call it bending. You have to call it sucking or converging, but you really can't call it bending in 3 dimensions. I mean, it just doesn't work. Okay, I mean, it's not bending in 3 dimensions. Well, I'm not doing that shit. Mother yucker. What's your opinion on the debate tonight? Fuck all this physics shit. I forgot the debate was tonight, so I didn't watch it, but I'll, watch the replay somewhere. But I heard it was kind of stale. So, Trump being Trump, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. My opinion is I fear we are going to become, I don't know where you get this socialist stuff from. There's no socialist running, retard. Not even close to a socialist running. Fucking the socialist guy wasn't even a socialist. I mean, he had no plan to really tax the rich. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You seem like you're really quite ignorant and stupid and fucktarded. All right, so we can get rid of this guy. And let's see, maybe William Knight can go too. My opinion is I fear we are going to become socialist states of America. But I didn't see the debate. I don't know. I just don't understand how you can talk about the socialism that's coming. Obama has made the rich richer than they've ever been in the history of rich people. And you're talking about socialism. I mean, you don't really understand what the word socialist means, do you? You just have no clue at all, do you? I mean, capitalists have been nothing but deregulated and the benefit of huge tax breaks. Here in New Jersey, right, there was a silly gas tax. So they increased gasoline by 20 cents. And it's so funny because the Republicans are pretending like, this is a terrible problem, this is awful, and they got such a good deal, right? They got huge tax cuts for the richest motherfuckers in the state, got rid of the estate tax. I mean, just insanely stupid things. So this is entirely, the Democrats totally got the dick shoved all the way up their ass. I mean, a total lose for anybody with any kind of progressive values. You just totally raped poor working people, having them pay more taxes so the rich can get more tax breaks. Clear as that's the only thing that fucking happened. And it's just ironic that the progressives, the Democrats, are running as if they got a good deal. And it's just so obviously they got totally raped. They totally raped working people. And then I'm just sitting there saying, it's amazing if any of these Democrats get reelected. I don't know how the fuck how the fuck do you run on a, yes, I passed the gas tax that totally raped you and gave all the money to the rich. Anyway, I don't want to do this. This room isn't for this purpose. Friends, socialism is a communist lie. Well, whatever. People are just too fucking boring. Yeah, really. Wasted time. So anyway, where was I? So anyway, you got this stupid bent space crap. It's a silly answer. It's not even a physical answer. It's not physics. No description of the mechanics of this structure. How the fuck exactly does space bend? It's just totally useless as an explanation of anything. You might as well just say leprechauns are pushing planets. You might as well just make up any fantasy character because you just created a non-existent force and entity to cause something to happen. Nothing tells something what to do. It just doesn't make any sense. It's just too fucking silly. And yet they gobble it right up. Well, if you're a Ron Paul person, that's good enough reason to block you. Fuck you. Hope you die quickly and harshly. I mean, Ron Paul makes Donald Trump look like Einstein. Let's see. Does the fact that true truths and true lies make truths relative? Yeah, go fuck yourself. I don't know. This is like, what, retarded night or something? All the retards are showing up. Ugh. Kill Earthlings. I gotta make a sign. Just kill them. They're just too stupid. Obviously, there's a few of us that have a brain, but it's just too few to be worth the trouble to save the human race. So, yes, kill the humans, please. Send a bottle into space. Put us out of our dumb cunt misery. Even if life was wonderful and charming, if this is how stupid it's going to be, man, it wouldn't be worth it. Ugh, puke. So no wonder physics is retarded, because people are so fucking dumb. The bar is set so low that even the physicist can be retarded. Sad but true. So, and then there was the catch with this stupid bent space thing is that Einstein was able to, in a little sneaky way, tie this little velocity time dilation thing to it. Because gravity creates acceleration, and acceleration, generally speaking, can create velocity. And now you're going to have some excuse to sit there and say, the bent space is bending time, which is just bullshit. It doesn't really bend time. It only bends time if the thing actually is moving in the gravity. And the truth is, the only thing really moving in the gravity is actually the stuff not moving, because it's the stuff bouncing. We're actually moving in gravity by not moving. And by the gravity not moving us, we're actually moving, because it keeps accelerating us, and then we keep bouncing back, and so we're moving even faster because we have to travel this greater distance of the bounce distance. So that makes us dilate more. But yeah, it is sort of a irritating coincidence or whatever, convenient circumstantial connection that he was able to tie his stupid bent space into time dilation because of the relationship between acceleration and velocity. And but it's a bogus relationship, and it kind of reveals itself when you get into more complicated thought experiments. They do start to get awful tangled and paradoxical and nonsensical, and because the theory isn't correct. It's not the proper description of why there's time dilation. There's time dilation because you're losing your dimensionality. You're sacrificing your function. What is a fundamental ton made of? Well, again, it doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is its properties, okay? It's a tiny little thing. It's moving the speed of light. It only has mass in the one dimension in which it's moving. It can have polarization, which is an orientation, this way or this way, frisbee kind of thing. And it can be polarized at a frequency, meaning there can be a distance, set distance between the tons, and that's it. That's all there is. That's the properties, whether it's made out of string beans or bubble gum or leprechaun toes. It just doesn't matter. And vacuum or no space is nothing. Yeah, we know elements are atoms. Is a ton just a thing? Yes, it is the only thing because everything else is made of that thing. So whatever it's made out of, it's what everything is made out of. And vacuum or no space is no thing. Yes, exactly. There's a thing moving the speed of light, and then there's stuff not moving the speed of light. That's all there is. There's stuff not moving the speed of light and stuff moving the speed of light. That's it. You don't even need the stuff not moving the speed of light, theoretically, but it just happens to be there. I mean, you think of it visual as dots going directions. Yes, that's simple enough for me. You can make them arrows. I mean, it's simpler if you make them arrows, because then you can indicate their direction with the arrow. So, you know, I tend to say that's an okay plan. At least two-dimensionally, it looks okay. It's a little more, provides a little more information than dots. Obviously, dots don't really indicate which way the dot is going. Then you can use color to indicate polarization. At least that's what I'm doing. This it seems to make sense to me. You should make an ebook one day, though. Yeah, whatever. You know, it's just you just, you know, all I have to do is what? You know, it's so simple, right? I just take a stamp and go stamp there, ebook. Done. Oh yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. Shit. Technical writing is kind of a skill, and writing is just not something I used to be able to write, but then I became intelligent and I realized that what you're saying, it's important, the structure and things, and I started thinking too much, and it's really hard to write anything. If you're trying to be a human being, you're trying to explain it, and you're just like, oh, I don't want to have to go all the way back to kindergarten, and then should I put, and yeah, you just, yeah, it's very difficult to write because, you know, talking, you know, I'm not giving a shit. I'm not worried about, I can always do it over. I can always add something. I can always fix it if I say something the wrong way. You can't do that when you're writing. So it all has to have some sort of continuity, and you have to go in an order, and, you know, it's work, asshole. I mean, it's hard enough to think up this theory, and then I have to sit there and write it too and do all this other shit. I mean, it's, you know, I've got an awful lot of shit on my table, so to speak. But I did attempt to do that. I mean, I do have it written up on the website, draftphysics.com, and so, but yeah, it needs to be fixed because I've improved the theory since the original write-up. But I mean, parts of it are still correct. I mean, the magnetism part is substantially correct. The time dilation part, the inertia part is substantially correct. I mean, it needs to be, yeah, there's parts that need to be fixed. But and I still haven't finalized it yet. I still haven't, the relationship between the actual process of, say, a photon entering an electron, the electron being accelerated, I have a reasonable diagram of that, but I still haven't got all the details about exactly how the specific amount of energy is released in the right frequency and all that kind of stuff. So I do have some details to work out still. And yeah, I still haven't gotten all of the, when an electron accelerates, the fact that it does create this EMF, this force perpendicular to its movement. That's this polarized force, magnetism. And, you know, I haven't got all that entirely spelled out yet. And I'm working on an animated model, a computer simulation, and yeah, I haven't got that done yet. And so, an awful lot of work to do. I would really like to just have the argument, just win the argument and get this over with, because to me, it's, I don't think somebody really gives a shit about the truth can defend the established nonsense against this much better, much improved version. So I think once they understand this version of reality, it's just such a better description that they would concede that yes, this is the way it should be, and this is what the physicists should be working on, and you know, let somebody else do all the technical crap. You know, I've done my part, so to speak, but apparently I'm going to have to do it all. It's so irritating. House by house. So where was I? All right, so we have Einstein's crappy contribution of bent space, consequential bent time, but that's just kind of silly. It's just a way of explaining velocity. And again, you know, bending space doesn't really explain velocity, right? I mean, you can give something velocity, and there's no argument that it had to bend space to gain velocity. So clearly, time dilation happens without bending space. You shoot something out of a cannon, you're not bending space, you're shooting something out of a cannon. It's just kind of silly to say everything with velocity is somehow in a time warp of bent space. It's not in bent space, and it's actually not in bent time. It's just got to change metabolism so the clock doesn't work. That's right, you accelerate a clock, you give it velocity, the clock breaks. It doesn't tell good time anymore. It's cryogenically broken. I mean, it's just cryogenics. That's the funny part of it. Time dilation is just cryogenics. It's not a warping of time. It's just a slowing. It's just freezing you. It's just breaking your functionality. You know, it's just this is so stupid. So what else do I have to say? So yeah, those are the major ones, right? And the rest of it's the standard model accelerator crap, which is who cares? I mean, that's just all a bunch of crap that doesn't last for, you know, microseconds. You know, and they slop together this. There's 3 quarks and 7 of this, and 4 upside downies, and 1 Higgs bosons, and the Higgs boson, and Higgs trison, and some smison, dison, blison. So convoluted, useless. Let's see. My pussy breaks many dicks. And, you know, it's just, whoa, wow. What a great line. Oh, it's so funny. Oh, not even close. Jesus. Does make you wonder what's more important, fixing physics or killing crazy people? So many nutters everywhere. can't even imagine this slop of going on the internet and typing, drooling on the keyboard. I just can't even see any point in that. It's, can't jerk off to it at all. And such. Now, let's see, any other news? I don't think so. Let's see what Ken's up to. Live button.
Earlier, you would have heard about the secret lens because all the secret lenses, all the secret lens that I mentioned, they've all vanished off of eBay. Make sure you bought the right one,
Oh, here's one. DraftScience pulling hard on his crack pipe again. Ha ha ha. Watching his stream too. Pulling hard on his crack pipe.
Old one which I've not used. I have Super Tactomart.
I mean, that's just kind of, really, these people are just so insane. They're going to ridicule people for being nicotine addicts. I mean, like I said, this guy's eaten more than 2 trillion too many donuts. This is the kind of thing they worry about. You can't even vape now without offending their sensibilities somehow. Oh, I guess that's where the trolls are coming from. A couple of mentions here. You guys, DraftScience is streaming as well. Yeah, it's, too bad there's nobody who wishes to discuss physics. It's a whole bunch of lame brains. Yes, lame-brained. You're all lame-brained. No hard functionality at all. All right, one more little try. Let's see if Ken says something physicky.
Pulling hard on his crack pipe. Oh, yeah, the naked dude. Yeah, the guy that looks like Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs.
All right, so this is the guy again. He's ridiculing how I look. I mean, can you believe it? I mean,
just had one pin in
it. Could anybody be this, like, completely without a clue? I mean, you see that a lot of times. Like I said, he must be an idiot savant, right? There's no other explanation. He's got to be an idiot savant, right? So yes, he's a little bit savant-y about things he obsesses about, like magnets and lenses, and ferrofluid. But yeah, everywhere else he just loses. He just can't conceptually understand anything in any kind of perspective. I mean, how can this fucktard ridicule people based on their appearance? I mean, just an amazingly, just such a bullshit move. I mean, Tesla, from what I believe, yes, Tesla fired his secretary because she was fat. Okay, that's a Tesla fact, right? Okay, so here's a guy who's way over beast, right? Way over beastie. Okay, Tesla would have found him repulsive. He would have found it insult worthy that you have allowed yourself to become this slothing, piggish, beastie thing. Okay, he would have insulted you more than he insulted Edison and Einstein for being fat. He disliked fat people very much. So eat that and put that in your chocolate donut and shove it up your ass. I know you've done that before. That's funny. I'm sure DraftScience would pay to see you naked. No, I give it away, but I'm not. There's no indication that I'm doing any searching. How a dick-tide he is to you. A dick-tide. And this is the guy who sits there and keeps bringing me up, which is kind of funny, right? So he's talking about people being addictide, and then he's demonstrating his addictedness when the subject isn't me. Obviously, they want to talk about lenses, and he just keeps having to bring me up. And again, this is because I didn't wear a shirt in a video, right? Because it was, you know, hot as fuck inside my house because I don't have air conditioning. Unlike the, Ken the millionaire. Yeah, I don't. Well, I even if I had $1 million, I wouldn't have air conditioning. It's preposterous waste. So it's just like the coherence of particles in a system indicate their momentum through space-time. Oh, can magnetism make you depressed? I mean, like bipolar. Let's see if he answers that.
Ourselves a new bedroom, and in the process of digging a new bedroom, we discovered a huge opal is worth $100,000. First, we were bitching about the old broad coming to live with us.
Okay.
You see, since everybody's living underground.
All right. Well, that's not terribly interesting. All right, back to the crappy regular people in my crappy room. Let's see what they have to say. Let's see. He uses some graphical software to make up things while Eminem just draws lines. Let's see. He's like the physicists. They are always autistic. They just don't become that way. Let's see. War of pseudoscience. Let the picture rotate. Hard to explain. Photomagnetism does not exist. Well, that sure is fucking true. I replicated that thing with success. What thing did you replicate? 9-year-old 19-inch screen I had in the basement. And then look, the fact that you can bend electrons with a magnet is not a surprise. Newsflash. But whether you're bending them accurately is a whole nother question. Let's see. I was about to dump it, but since I had some magnets left to fuck the TV up with, I tried and it worked. Not the strong effect, though. Again, what worked? I have to go find out what fucking worked. Hey, look at that long cat guy. I haven't seen him in forever. He's a big lecturer now. He does lectures. Ken is just as believable as in Mendham. Well, that's just, you're plain silly, doctor. I bet you're not a doctor. Ken has no real experiments done. Well, Ken's experiments, the ones he has done, are just horrible in the sense that he doesn't back them up with demonstration from any other angle or doing it some other way. It's like the gyroscope one, right? This is a simple one to dissect. He takes the biggest magnet, a $1,000 magnet. It's so fucking big. So obviously you could put almost anything and on the north face of the magnet, right? It's just so damn big, right? If I take a gyroscope and put it in front of this magnet, I'm not going to get too far because this magnet has got magnetism coming off the sides. Obviously, they're going to be able to get to the gyroscope. But he puts it on a magnet that's this round, and he sits it on top, and he says, "Look, see, no eddy current." Well, of course, there's no eddy current because there's no possibility. You essentially put the gyroscope in, okay, a monopole. All right, this is a monopole for some distance. This magnet creates a monopole because there's no ability for any of the south side radiation to get there. So from that position, yeah, it's going to be essentially a monopole. So you can't create an eddy current unless you have both poles of the magnet. That's the only way you can create the eddy current. You have to have both poles. Both poles have to be affecting the object. So of course, when you put it on the angle, of course, now you're hitting both poles of the magnet. Now you're getting radiation from both sides. You're actually magnetizing, the paramagnetic brass of the gyroscope is now creating eddy currents because now it's being magnetized. You can't magnetize something with a monopole is the argument. So, I mean, that's just so easy to dissect. All right, so we can get rid of the doctor now. He's revealed himself. And Mendham is a transsexual authoritarian slut. Yeah, well, whatever. I don't really mind if you want to call me a transsexual. I mean, I don't find that offensive in some broad way beyond the fact that it's just not the truth, okay? So it's a lie, and I don't like liars. So, fuck you. All right. So I was about to, no, yes, that's the last one. Okay, last comment. Oh, here we go. Was at a 45-degree, it was slowing down. Exactly. Also, consider the angle Ken holds the gyroscope. Well, it doesn't really matter. Even if he held it straight up on the edge of the magnet, it's still going to end up getting eddy currents because it's getting some radiation from the other pole of the magnet. So it's going to magnetize the brass. The brass will create a current. It will fight the current of the other magnet, and the two magnets will fight each other and slow the gyroscope down. Let's see. And you guys here cannot explain that phenomenon. What phenomenon? All right, just get some of your old hard drives out, disassemble them, pull the two neo magnets out, and stack them up 4 or 6 of them. You got a strong enough field that will influence an old TV picture. Well, again, what do you think? I mean, you're really not this dumb, right? You really think that electrons aren't affected strongly by magnetism? The whole back of old TVs is just a giant magnetic coil. Have you ever looked at the tube? I mean, the tube is wrapped in a gigantic electromagnet because that's what's bending the fucking electrons, for fuck's sake. I mean, some of the modern ones, they used a little trick, where they actually, they create the charge to make the anode and the cathode to make the electron move. And what they do is they're able to move the charge and then fool the electron into moving at a different angle. So they didn't have to use as big of magnets. But the original cathode ray tubes were gigantic electromagnets. So why are you surprised that magnets placed on the surface of the screen would automatically cause the electrons to be attracted to the field lines? Duh. Let's see. Yeah, if you want to bother ordering magnets on a shop, they can be expensive. Yeah, well, you can steal them out of stuff, old stuff. No, these magnets are incredible. So I took these out of a starter motor for a tractor. They're just awesomely strong magnets. But I love this effect. I mean, it just so illustrates that, the idea of momentum and the the idea that it goes way past the field and then has to come back and then has to come back, and I mean, it's really strong magnets. So I have to play with them some more. But even these little tiny ones, you can buy these cheap, and they're really strong little magnets, man. Strong. So yeah, there's lots of experiments I want to do, but I just haven't had time. So instead, I just do silly things, like just totally useless. Oh, look, it looks like a dog. Lego magnets. So, yeah, I gotta get serious. Well, I'm just saying that the electrons are, just like I said, they're totally owned by magnetism. It's what they live for. So it's no surprise you can bend electrons with a magnet. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just saying Ken's arguments are just kind of lame, right? I mean, he's making fun of my appearance, talking about how, oh, he's like that Buffalo Bill guy from the movies. I mean, it's just, what is that? I mean, he's just such a chicken. He's such a fucking coward. I mean, all this big talk. Like I said, I'm big talking, but I'm sitting here. I'm ready. Let's have the game. And he can't man up. What is he afraid of? You mean Ken Ken doesn't want. He doesn't want to hurt my feelings. Is that what you think, Ken? Oh no, I can't pick on disabled people. Is that, do you really think that's what's going on in Ken's brain, or do you think what's going on in Ken's brain is Ken's scared shitless that yeah, I'm going to make him sound like a religious kook, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make him sound like a religious kook. Well, I'm just saying, obviously, there's no indication that if I go into his room and just start cussing, okay, cussing, and this is a guy, right, who doesn't mind telling plenty of dirty jokes. So we're just talking about the difference between saying pussy and cunt. But regardless, if you don't think, I've demonstrated more than a zillion times in the real world, that I don't have to say poopy words. So yes, if you want us to make a rule that I can't use any poopy language, I'm okay with that. I can say poo poo and woo woo and hoo hoo. I can call a penis a hoo hoo. I can do that. Sure. If it makes little Kenny happy. It protects his sensibilities because he's a sensitive soul. I'm scared of words. But anyway, there's no, like I said, he isn't demonstrating any willingness, okay? Like I said, he can make a whole list of silly rules. I mean, he boldly said in his video, like, oh yeah, I'll even get drunk so you'll have every advantage in the debate, and I'll do this and I'll do that. And he can't even create a minor list of saying, well, this is what you have to do. You have to wear a shirt. Okay, I can handle that. I've demonstrated I can do that. Okay, you say I can't use nicotine. Oh well, okay, I can go an hour without sucking on my nicotine stick. So what's his rules? Go ahead, make a fucking list of your fucking goddamn rules, and I'll fucking obey your stupid cunt rules. Again, it's public. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if I am vulgar and disgusting and stupid, then he's gonna win, right? I mean, there's how does he lose? If I do something retarded and obnoxious, how does he lose? Why is he afraid of me making a fool out of myself? Right? He's not afraid of me making a fool out of myself. He's afraid of me making a fool out of him. For fuck's sake, he's a coward, a fucking big mouthed, shit talking coward. He picks on dead people. Okay, he doesn't pick on the living. Yes, well, I was a chain smoker in my former life, so I did love cigarettes. They were my favorite, my best friend for 45 years, and I'm really quite depressed that I can't afford to smoke cigarettes anymore because you cunts, you fascist, Nazi, donut-eating fat pigs, have decided that somehow I'm not allowed to have a vice, but you are. You cunts can have vices, but I can't. Affordable vices. So anyway, let's see. Yes, that crippled idiot a wheelchair is still alive, sadly. Crippled idiot. I wonder who that is. And he keeps trolling people by writing shit nobody can see proofs of. Who's he talking about now? Hold on. Talk about my shit talking. Jeez, you guys are shit talkers. Let's see what Ken's on about now. Oh, look at that. He's wearing his afro wig and his funny hat. No, he's playing with the girls.
I know.
Yes. It sounds like his girl. He's talking to the girl voice and
there such. There we go. White balance.
Yeah, white balance. White balance. Focus. 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 White balance. Focus. White balance. Whatever. Yeah, what a great room. Yeah.
60 millimeter?
The beginning of the show was worth watching just for the Soul Train. But
yeah, forget about the 56 millimeter one too. Buy the 60 millimeter f2.4.
Oh no, I don't think I will buy either one because it sounds like a big fucking waste of goddamn fucking money is what it sounds like. Probably another $500 fucking lens. I mean, really. I mean, I was looking at some of these $600 for a lens, and it's not even autofocus, right? So yeah, you got this fucking whatever $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 camera or something, and it can't even autofocus. You're like, okay, so I have $2,000 camera, and I have to do the focusing for fuck's sake. I mean, yeah, oh, gee, what a deal. Yeah, fun. All right, so they're all doing lens talk now. Okay, so enough of that. Blah, blah, blah. Back to the science room. Let's see what they're saying in the science room. I don't get how he still do science. I don't even get how he can still do science. I don't even know what that means. Hawking's. Oh, you're talking about Hawking's. Yeah, well, Hawking's isn't really do science, to tell you the truth. I mean, I don't think he was much of a physicist, to tell you the truth. And that whole last fiasco where he got into this whole fight with the cunt from Stanford, and then basically just wimped out and said, I don't want to play anymore. So, yeah, okay, you win. All right, because I don't want to play anymore. And it was a silly concession. I mean, the concession was just idiotic, like all this stupid argument about some kind of fucking information, whether it gets clogged, as it's going through the fucking colon of the black hole, does the information get stuck in the colon, or is the pancreas secretions a little bit too acid, and so it slides through there, but it gets stuck at the pancreas or something? And I mean, it was just such a fucking stupid argument anyway. But I mean, the pussy out, that was just such a, yeah, fuck that. You're gonna, you know, because he didn't really concede. He just conceded he don't want to argue no more. All right. You could put half-dried chimp in a wheelchair and add an iPad. Well, I mean, you don't need to get insulting. He's a miraculous human being. I mean, to survive with ALS for as long as he has been goddamn nothing short of incredible. And you just have to think about how every day he has to live with that fucking disease. Every fucking day for the last 40 fucking years or whatever it's been, he's had to live the life of that, just being glued to that fucking chair. And it's, you know, I mean, you know, like I said, I don't like him as a physicist, but I don't even know if I don't know if I admire his courage, or I'm just stunned by the fact that somebody would do this without blowing their brains out. I mean, I just can't imagine, having the strength to take another assisted breath in that circumstance. Just amazing internal perseverance, or whatever you want to call that. Just an amazing life engine that he's got running, because I just can't imagine facing that every goddamn day. So frankly, I really don't want to do this personal character assassination thing unless you're personally assassinating the character of Ken, because he is a big fat coward. But leave the rest of these assholes out of it, please. See, that's the part I want to get to, right? Like half the conversation with Ken, I would like to just get a couple of things clear about. So he actually also believes that there is instantaneous action at a distance. So he believes that there is such a thing as instantaneous action. I mean, what's the word for that? Two actions that, something happening instantaneous. What's the word for that? Two things happening instantaneously. What's the word for that? Anyway, he believes in that shit. And that's just bizarre. In my opinion, I mean, how you can make rational sense out of any of that mush. I mean, to understand that we have some experiments that look kind of funky, and it almost looks like there must be, but obviously there's always a catch, and they say, oh, well, there's a catch because, we can't communicate into the future, so obviously it doesn't really work. No, it's not superpositional action. No, come on, there's a word for it. It's not just spooky action. It's no, spontaneous is another word for a silly concept that something happened without a cause. You know, breaking of the cause and effect chain. Boy, you people are dumb that you don't know this shit. It's a word for that spooky action thing. Action at a distance. Damn it. Well, anyway. So yeah, I would like to get to these kind of subjects. To see where did you think a free will would come from? What exactly would be the neurological mechanism? All of a sudden, a perturbation of electricity comes from nowhere and just shoots down one of my neurons or something. You know, there doesn't have to be a photon, doesn't have to hit my eye, or my eardrum doesn't have to vibrate. Nothing has to ever happen, and it just pops into my brain that I now know how to play the piano, even though I never practiced. So, and actually, nobody understands that quantum stuff. I now see why, because it's irrational. Nobody ever could write a simulation based on those weird math formulas describing our universe. Well, some of them aren't that weird in the sense that obviously the probability wave, right, is sort of rational in the sense that if you throw a bowling ball at 10 pins, there are certain permutations. Like you can knock down 10 pins, but you can't knock down 11, right? So, I mean, there's certain rules of probability that are pretty good, right? The math works, right? There's 10 pins, you can't knock down 11. Okay, you know, that kind of thing. So, I mean, some of the rules are rational, and then, yes, some of them are just idiotic. No, not entanglement. I mean, that's a good word. Entanglement's another big pile of shit. But no, it's not synchronicity either. I think it's just instantaneous action at a distance. Maybe that's how he said it. But he believes that exists. He thinks gravity is instantaneous. He thinks, you know, he thinks the sun is instantaneously telling Saturn, you know, come over here. I mean, you know, can't do that. I mean, is a light photon sliced into the color slices? Well, no, photons are really small. There is no such thing as a white photon. There are just colored photons. So if you see white light, it's more than one photon automatically. It's automatically not a photon. It's at least 3 photons. And the rays for each one of those photons may be a ray that has 7 quanta in it or 4 quanta. Who knows what the exact amount of each color you got for how long a period in those tons. But there's no such thing as a white photon. If gravity wouldn't be instant, then our stars in our galaxy would get attracted to the offset center they're not. Well, that is a pile of shit. It has nothing to do with the truth. There's no such thing as an offset center in the first place. And again, you're thinking of it as an attractive force. It's not an attractive force, retard. It's a push force. Push doesn't give a shit about any of this crap. You know, it's the opposite of a light bulb, for fuck's sake. There's no off center. The light bulb doesn't get, the light coming towards me, it doesn't get confused because, hey, it's taking me a while to get where I'm going. It doesn't confuse anything. If I was to reverse the light bulb, it would be no confusion for the photon that just hit me here to go right back to that light bulb. It would figure out where the light bulb is. No problem. It's completely reversible. So that's just more crap. You just pull out of your ass to say, no, oh no, you couldn't do it that way. Yeah, you can. So if you consider light as a 2-axial thing, well, that just makes so much sense. The 2 coaxial, right? Coaxial. You could just say coaxial instead of 2-axial. It makes more sense to describe it in frequencies rather than being a particle. Well, it says you. How do you even do this 2-axial thing? What the fuck does that mean, retard? 2-axial thing. What's DraftScience? It's the name of the channel, retard. You don't know the concept of you do something the serious way, like I finished it, and then you do stuff the draft way where, yeah, this is sort of notes. We're sort of getting there. We're on the way. Yeah. You can't figure that out on your own? Three different sine waves. Sine waves made of what? In what? Balanced by what? Just, oh yeah, there's just a snake flying through space. The three snaky thing. It's one snake is going this way while this snake is going this way, and that snake's going this way, and then kind of. It doesn't make any sense. It's rubbish. Oh, whatever. Blue waves. You just got waves, waves, waves. You just can't get a clue, right? You're just going to keep trying to turn everything into a wave. Everything that happens at a frequency. So when a clock pendulum swings, you're saying the pendulum is waving. It's saying hello. It's waving. I mean, God. Well, I think saying that you live on Mars is a lie. I really don't like liars, so you better start telling truths or you're going to be in big trouble. A bunch of Ken trash leaking over here, no doubt. This is Ken's followers. These are the kind of Einsteins that, buy $1,000 lenses made out of radioactive, Chernobyl glass. All right, I think I will go play in Ken's room for a moment. See what he's up to. Better not still be wearing that fucking wig. Oh, there we go. F2, so you got that one wrong. 55 millimeter F2s. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, great bokeh. Bokeh Rococa.
YouTubers mean that the 50 to 140 Fuji has crap bokeh. It's not the best bokeh in the world.
It's not the best bokeh in the world, but blah, 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 yeah, blah, 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 blah. I'd like to have a real contest. You take, it's like the Coke Pepsi wars. I love to do is, get some of these expensive cameras and then get, the $5 cameras I got, the broken shit off of eBay, the little, 12 megapixel, not bad digital cameras with the, $4 lens on it made out of plastic. And just go out and take some pictures and not fuck around. Just try to take the best pictures I can with each camera and just see if these fucking goombas can figure out what camera took what picture. Let's see. German lenses are also way up. Okay, they're applauding each other for great pictures and such. Okay, so we'll go back to my crappy room of retards. See what they're up to. Oh, NASA found water, but it was thick. No, I imagine it was frozen. That's what it was, but whatever. Let's see. Sound, light, sound, it would come to sawtooth wave right now. Well, whatever. I mean, this whole turning light into a wave is just retarded. It lands as a clump. It leaves as a clump. It's a clump. No point in turning it into a wave. It's just clumps at a frequency. Bullets at a frequency. That's all it is. And if the bullets hit an electron, the bullets get deflected. It's called diffraction. It's what the atmosphere does every day to ruin your view of the universe. Your view of the universe is ruined every day because a bunch of the light from the sun is getting diffracted at bizarre angles and being shot at you from a bunch of different locations that it really isn't shining from, but it ends up shining from there because the atmosphere acts like a bunch of little mirrors and keeps blinding you so you can't see the real universe anymore. But that's how light bends, is it has to hit something to bend. Can't bend it with no field energy because it is field energy. It's just so fucking obvious. So fucking obvious. So anyway, And let's see, what other subjects can we touch upon? I guess the light thing is really important. You feel this wave thing. So I've already, I think, deconstructed wave theory. You know, it just doesn't have any. There's no substance to it. They certainly can't do it with electrons, right? They've attempted to turn electrons into a wave, and what do? They shoot them at a frequency and then say they're a wave because we shot them at a frequency. It's just so ironically funny. It's obviously their frequency ends up being just their velocity, because obviously if you shoot them at a faster rate, you have to shoot them at a faster rate to shoot them at a faster rate. So yes, you end up accelerating them. And that's all you're doing now. You're just measuring their velocity, not anything real in terms of a frequency that they have. It's just frequency you gave them. So, I mean, they're obviously just bowling balls you're throwing, and they end up calling that a wave of electrons. I mean, that's just silly talk. Yeah, well, there's nothing says you in these arguments. Like I said, I have demonstrated the lies. I've demonstrated that Huygens is stated to be a principle. The principle isn't applied anywhere else in physics. So how do you explain a principle that's not applied except for one circumstance? Is it really possible to have a principle that you only apply in one circumstance to fix one broken equation, and you'd call that a principle? Does that make sense to you? It's supposed to be a truth about the universe, and yet it's not a truth in every other experiment ever conducted. It's only a truth in one experiment. Does that make sense to you? Whatever it can be, whatever that means. Yeah, sorry, I don't think so. In chemistry, there are, I must be typing with his phone or something. In chemistry, there's principles that only apply to one circumstance. Well, no one's talking about a unique circumstance. We're talking about a principle. Again, you're not getting it. It's a principle. They're saying that when a wave front is created, an infinite number of little waves are created in front of it to create the next wave front. And they're saying this happens as a principle. And yet this principle doesn't happen in the two-slit experiment, because that would end up making the two-slit experiment the four-slit experiment. And they know that wouldn't make any sense, because then the math is going to be broken again. So the point is they only use it in the one experiment because it can't be used in all the other experiments because it's not true. And it breaks the physics. So clearly it's not a principle. It's a contrivance. It's a gimmick. It's a fake. It's a fraud. It's glued on crap. It's a fucking bumper sticker that says great car. But no, there's no great car. One infinity means indefinitely higher x. It doesn't mean unlimited. Well, I'm sorry, that's just idiotic. So you can play games with doing infinity math, but obviously that's not physics. In physics, infinities are real problems, and when one shows up in your math, you take it seriously, like a zero or something. It's serious. If your formula says zero or your formula says infinity, oh, you know you got something going on that's wrong. Well, again, you can't have infinity sets in physics. So you can say this crap, but you can't do it in physics. I mean, the only place I ever see that they ever play a game with infinity is to catch, you know, when they're doing the field, you know, Einstein's field equations, they have to catch themselves so they don't create a black hole that's too preposterously big. They only create preposterously big ones, not too preposterously big. But whatever, you're saying you can have infinity sets. I'm saying that infinity inside, to say that there's an infinite number of something inside a confined space, in my opinion, is breaking physics. It's ignoring physics. That's a fundamental principle. that if you can somehow cram an infinite number of anything inside of a confined space, you're doing retarded physics. You're not doing physics. You're doing something else. You're, playing with your anal tissue. You're not doing physics. All right, so anyway, you've gotten boring, so I'll go back and see if Ken has anything new to say. Where'd he go? Oh, midnight. Here he is. Midnight fun with Fatty.
It is a rare bird collectible. You buy that lens, you don't use it, and then you show it to other people. Look, 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 I got this lens. It's like, oh, that's very nice. Have you ever used it? No, it's too valuable. It doesn't even make awesome images. It's not worth owning.
Yeah, right.
It's a collector lens.
Right. How many of those do you have, Ken?
Radiation from the Pentax 2828 and 10528. What about it? Radiation is your friend. Radiation is your...
Anyway, I mean, that's a whole nother issue where this guy got his money from. I mean, from the stories he's told, it sort of sounds like he married some old rich bag and complained about, her going senile and him having to take care of her, but he ended up with a ton of money for his trouble. He claims to be in debt, but, I mean, obviously you don't go be buying no $500 lenses every 2 days if you're, in debt. Anyway, kind of a fraud. Some sort of shenanigans going on there anyway. All right, still talking about infinity sets. Okay, haven't evolved any while I was gone. So, anyway, looks like the Australian guy ain't gonna make it tonight, but that's okay. He's busy. Gold plating sitch and doing this and that. Work. Let's see, do I really have anything else to get to? Some other video I had to, figure I'll have to make a response to, but I can't remember what that one is either. But, I do have to find somebody to drag into the arena and destroy. And find me some conventional physics kooks to humiliate live in person. All right. So I guess we're done. It's kind of dried up. Was it you or Puro who writes erotica? Yeah, I don't bother with doing that. So it must be Puro. Yeah, I don't bother doing that. Seems a contradiction in terms, right? Writing an erotica. It's like you could read with one hand, but I just don't know if you can write with one hand, right? I mean, in the sense, the paper will move, and things will, it's very hard to write and work at the same time, right? And then, you'll lose interest right in the middle of a sentence, maybe. Have to take a nap. Yeah, so doesn't sound like a productive. It seems like an enterprise for the women's, and so so I think women's write most of that erotica stuff. Or fat men who haven't seen their penis in 40 years. I wonder when the last time Ken saw his. Yeah, stick that in your pipe and smoke it. Yeah. So, so I've kind of lost the, whatever it was that I was supposed to have. I've kind of lost interest. it seems. A little more akin, and say goodnight, maybe.
Right, D500. Then that would be. I just had the mount up for that one. It's that K&F mount that I just posted a few minutes ago.
Oh, very exciting. Okay.
It's a super Pactica screw mount.
Yeah, fuck that. I ever seen in the lanes. Pentax 135. I can't even believe they make all these fucking lenses. I mean, just, Jesus. This is suckers born every day and all that shit. But man. I mean, yeah. How many lenses do I need to choose from? 4. Yeah, I think 4. Yeah, 4 choices would be enough for me anyway. That's the wrong page there. It's a good thing I wasn't screen sharing that one. Anyway, all right, I think we'll call it an evening. Because, I'm tired, and just thought, just in case there was somebody about who wanted to argue about the last video or the last 2 videos, but apparently not. So I'll call it an evening and work on some more professional presentation of the argument. Let's see. You ever seen Ken's old video where he wants so big, where he wasn't so big? Still looks weird though. Yeah, I've seen him. Yeah, look, I'm only doing this fat thing because he's playing this look thing like it matters. Oh, he resents somebody having hair or something. I don't know what his game is, but it just seems silly to be picking on my appearance. So otherwise, I wouldn't be bothered with this appearance issue. It's just that he's the one seems totally obsessed with it. And it seems preposterously ironic in the sense of considering his condition. It just seems like usually people, like I say, just completely living in glass bubbles, would not be throwing rocks around. I mean, man, you don't get the easy stuff to get. So, I think I'll refrain from picking on him for his, he's got big holes in his ears, so he probably did that whole weird quirky thing. And he's got lots of shit to pick on. And so he just shouldn't be picking. And it's just bullshit. And ironically, like I said, the Tesla thing is kind of funny. He's supposed to know everything about Tesla, and he doesn't know that Tesla didn't like fat people. So, I mean, that's kind of funny right there. So anyway, enough said. I shall move on and try again some other time when I'm better focused and something like that. I'm tired. Yeah, I just haven't been sleeping in any kind of reasonable schedule, so it's all fucked up. So. Even that, you look homeless. I mean, just obviously living in a home, so gee, that's really not a problem. But compared to who? I mean, do you have like a link to somebody else who's 56 years old who doesn't look like shit? I mean, I'm just curious. I mean, almost everybody on the internet looks, frankly, there's a lot of funky looking people out there, buddy. But again, even if I, like I said, I don't even know what looking homeless is. Isn't, in some respects, isn't that like counterculture then? I mean, that isn't, maybe that's a look I'm going for, realistically. I mean, I've always looked the same. So, frankly, I've had the same hair, for 40 plus years. So What's the deal? Yeah, it's just silly. Smoking doesn't kill you. 92% of the people who die from smoking die past the age of 65. So, shit, you're going to worry about that anyway. It's a good time to die, actually. Um, and again, with all the other health issues people have, I mean, the whole fucking country is morbidly obese, and you're giving health advice. It's just such a hypocrisy. It's just a gross hypocrisy. I've been a vegetarian for 40 years. My father smoked Lucky Strikes for 30 years, and he's 95 years old. My mother smoked, not quite as long and not quite as brutal a cigarette. And my father also worked in a chemical plant while he was smoking, by the way, and a gold mine while he was smoking. So, add in all kinds of risk factors, asbestos, all kind of exposure. So, in a sense, I'm probably genetically a little bit immune, you know, just because they survived. Like I said, my mother's 95 and my father's 93. Yeah, 94, 96 and 94, something like that. Oh, anyway. I'm not for smoking. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they should shoot people for ever giving cigarettes to a minor. So I would actually have a law that says if you give cigarettes to a minor, it's a two-strike law. Yeah, you can do it the first time, and we're just going to say, do it again, and we're going to kill you. And so if they do it again, we should kill them. So I'm for that. I would vote for that. Kids should never be allowed anywhere near fucking cigarettes. It's a bad addiction. But I'm just saying, cigarettes have been very, very good to me. I've very much enjoyed them. Much like my circumcision and other things, I have no complaints. So fuck you people and your problems. I don't know what this fucked fuck thing means, but gee, it's just so kind of childish and retarded, useless. Ugh. Well, I'm obviously not going to vote for a fucking Donald Trump. I mean, he's the most obscene piece of rubbish I could possibly imagine running for president. A silly billionaire who inherited it. I mean, fuck that. Yes, I would vote for an actual piece of maggot-covered dog shit before I would ever vote for Donald Trump. So yes, Hillary Clinton may be a skanky motherfucking cunt politician. I hate most of her policy. I hate the whole Democratic Party should go fuck itself and die of AIDS. But regardless, yes, there's no way you vote for a Donald Trump. I mean, just even the whole fucking thing, like the best he could come up with is, well, let's give the richest people who have gotten richer, preposterously richer over the last 20 years. They've done nothing but get insanely richer. Let's give them a big, huge tax cut because that always works, right? I mean, it's goddamn stupid as fucking thing. How can you fucking even go back to voodoo economics? I mean, holy fucking shit, that works? People are ready for some more of that? I mean, the rich are just getting preposterously richer. The middle class is just about totally annihilated. And the working man's lost half the value of his salary. And this fucker wants to give the richest people in the country the biggest tax cut ever. Oh, great. His girlfriend. It's actually his wife, but yeah, whatever. I mean, his girlfriend. She's his whore. I mean, come on, just call it what it is. Jesus Christ. Of course, he's sleeping with him because of his money. You think Donald Trump would be a winner without his money? Come on. And without his hair transplants and all the rest of it, you think he'd still be a winner? You know, he'd be a preposterously silly fucktard. Yeah, I mean, Hillary's just this, she's just a piece of tainted, scuzzy, pus-covered crap. I mean, you know, there's just nothing good to say about her. Except she's not Donald Trump. There, whew, she wins. She's not Donald Trump. That's like not having AIDS. That's like, you know, yeah. Yeah, well, their daughters have the brain function of frogs. Yeah, they're just happy little frogs sitting by the frog pond. It's like Trump's sons are just, they have the same mannerisms as Trump, you know. They're just stupid, vacuous turds. Hey, Eric, Donnelly Do. You know, they probably have a little pet name for him. Donnelly Do. You know, for the junior Donald Jr. Donald Jr. Oh, fuck. This is like some kind of bizarre nightmare. Like, this just can't be reality. No fucking way. Anyway, I'm not going to do this talk anyway. Enough of this. It's physics room, fuckers. Dragging me back to this fucking cesspool of, you know, circumstantial crap. Physics can be fixed. Let's fix it. Okay, stay on point, you fuckers. Anyway. Anyway, this is enough. Now it's enough. Yeah, now you depressed me, bringing up all this skanky cunt shit. Anyway. Yes, well, unfortunately, the world will end, but we're going to have to be, you know, tied into the human centipede for a lot of millions of years before then. How's a black hole push gravity? Well, first off, there's probably no such thing as a black hole, but the push is coming from the outside. It's force blocked. So when you block something on one side and it's still pushing on the other side, but yes, gravity can be very, very, very strong. Yeah, puts the more stuff in the way, and you know, you get rid of all the force on one side, then the gravity will be very strong on the other side. Let's see. Gaped by black dicks. Yeah, well, thank you. At least you made yourself kickable, which I appreciate. Thank you. So at least I got that job done. Let's see. I mean, pressure is pressure. I don't know how to explain this to you, but say if I put something in a pressure cooker, it doesn't matter how high I make the pressure. You know, you get the idea that it's even on both sides. Now, if you think of that pressure being straight line force, and it can't go around any corners, then you can sort of understand that if two things are in that pressure field, there'll be no pressure between them, and they'll be smashed together very vigorously. And so, but you can't tell if you're just a single thing sitting in the pressure, you can't tell how strong the pressure is, you know, in a sense, until something makes you feel it, something imbalances you. Do you work for NASA? Well, NASA's full of idiots and fucktards. I mean, they thought we found a living thing made of arsenic. You know, NASA's full of shitheads. He could if he wanted to. Yeah, well, like I said, it's not about them wanting me. I have to want them. Yeah, they've just sort of lost all perspective, right? I mean, they keep pretending we're going to Mars for the first time. like a virgin. No, no, you already been there. Back in 1980, for fuck's sake. Yeah, you went there. You tasted the dirt and everything. Yeah, game over. You're not fooling me. Fortunately, no, I do not believe that life is something that happens regularly. I think it's quite almost impossible to make one. You need some kind of lightning strikes 17 times on the head of a pin kind of thing, and it just doesn't happen. And so, fortunately, we're the only victims of these preposterously unlikely events. And you have to really recognize how many preposterously unlikely events are, right? I mean, first abiogenesis itself is a whole bunch of preposterous improbabilities just to get to the chemical being able to reproduce itself, which means another chemical has to cut it in half and then another chemical has to reassemble the DNA molecules. That in itself is preposterously, who knows how all that stuff happened by accident. And on top of that, you have, the eukaryotic thingy, where the nucleus goes inside the cell. That only happened once. The invention of the neuron, that only happened once. You can go through all the things that only happen once, and it's just a huge improbability to get to a point where you have this feeling life form thing. It's just very unusual, very unlikely. Let's see. Physics question mark, as in mind control and whatnot. I don't even know what that means. Michael. I don't know what you're talking about. It's a different Michael. What? Yeah, the other guy is Michael S. This is Michael Z. So I guess he's an imposter. What is this room? Question mark. Man, that's really retarded. Physics question mark, as in mind control and whatnot. No, as in the opposite of foolish rubbish like wave theory and bent space and such. Well, whatever. I'm not going to. I have 300 and some kind of crappy number of videos that I have made. Go look at the last video I made debunking the two slit experiment. Go inform yourself. I'm not going to sit there and try to explain an entire unification theory to you personally. Jeez. It's another thing. I mean, as bad as trolls are, I mean, these people who think they're just so entitled. Hey, I just showed up. Please catch me up to date. What happened? I got to the movie a half hour late. So yeah, what happened and what's going on? Yeah, change your whole agenda because I'm special and I need tutoring. All right, like an ass in a vagina. Yeah. So thank you for letting me know you're a useless troll. Thank you very much. I already had my suspicions, but so anyway. All right, so I guess we're done. So till it be the next time, I would just see if Ken did anything really especially special in the last special moments of his special broadcast.
I mean, she's beautiful and young. I mean, it's sad. I mean, everybody's mad, but they're not like hating mad. They're like, damn it, seek some help,
It's so ironic, right? So he's ragging again. He's ragging on this anorexic girl, and here he is morbidly obese. I mean, it's just amazing the disconnect this guy lives with. Statistically, you're more likely to be dead if you're overweight than underweight. Factually, as an actual fact, you're more likely to live longer the more underweight you are. As bad as that sounds, but it's the goddamn truth. So if you can find that perfect balance of just survivable, get yourself to look a little concentration campish, you'll actually kill all the antioxidants. You won't grow cancer. Lots of things won't happen, and you'll live longer, fuckhead. So she's not under the huge threat to die. You are, fat boy.
It's like, but everybody keeps subscribing. She's got like almost 1 million subscribers now.
Right, because assholes like you keep talking about it like this is something we should pay any attention to.
This video, it's got 21,000 dislikes.
Right, you're just setting it up for more. Feed her some more.
It's got nearly 400,000 views. The poor girl is absolutely skin and bone. She's beautiful and young, and she's just going to die any day. I feel it's horrible.
Yeah, you have no factual information to justify
I
it.
mean, honestly, I would never say that, but her mother needs to kidnap
Right.
her
And what does your mother
and
need
then
to
lock
do?
her up somewhere and like hook up some tubes to her.
All
And she'll
right.
get
Somebody
some
needs to
blood.
hook up a little paddle to you, and no more
Yeah, I
donuts,
know. I have all
Bubbles.
those Walter
No
Russell
more
diagrams.
the donuts, Bubbles.
And she'll be able to buy
I
some.
just
She's making a
can't.
lot
What
of
is it?
money off of YouTube. That girl's got like 1 million subscribers. She's making some serious money. I don't know what it is. I, however, I'm not making anything really.
Yeah, well, you obviously
Unless
don't
you think
need
a few
anything
$100s a month.
because you already have everything. You got 2
I'm
fucking
freaking killing
houses.
myself making nothing a month.
Yeah, right.
Eugenia Cooney. Just type in skinny YouTuber. She'll come right up.
Yeah. I mean, I can't believe he's wasting time on that again. I mean, it's pathetic. Again, how can somebody morbidly obese be sitting there critiquing other people's lifestyle choices or whatever you want to call it? I mean, I'm not for a girl going anorexic. I'm just saying, obviously, it's a good gimmick. She's doing that whole, she's got the big eyes with the black hair. She's doing the whole goth thing or whatever that is. So she's playing this whole thing. And it is a little bit psychotic and weird, but compared to all the other crap people are doing on this stupid motherfucking planet, who the fuck could care? If somebody actually did starve themselves to death and die, who fucking cares? I mean, shit. It's not like she's in fucking Guantanamo Bay against her goddamn will, would never get in a trial. That's this kind of thing you should be fucking complaining about. I mean, this whole idea that you're going to fucking lock people up in cells and cages without calling them human beings and entitle them to some kind of trial, even if it's a kangaroo court, should they have their day in kangaroo fucking court, for fuck's sake. No, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about somebody who voluntarily chooses to do something stupid. He's got $9,000. He's got $28,000. That's his own estimate. $28,000 of fucking toxic tattoos, for fuck's sake. Any one of those could have killed him. For what? To draw stupid crayon drawings on his skin. He risked his life to put crayon in his skin. Fuck. Anyway, why metal transfer temperature better than insulators? Well, that's sort of an obvious one in the sense that you can kind of get the idea of the density thing. So that's one thing right off the metals are usually heavier. So it's the kind of thing where you're basically saying what can carry more loose electrons in a way, right? Because you would say that the electrons moving is all part of this heat thing. And so heat is going to transmit through things that can have electrons actively bouncing around so they can, bounce into each other. And things that, where the electrons are kind of frozen, which obviously things like glass is a good example, right? Because glass or ceramic, you really get the idea that the electrons have to be frozen because you can't, you can apply a charge to them, but the charge doesn't migrate. It doesn't move very well. You can't take it off. You can't put it on easy. I mean, it's very complicated in terms of the fact that it just doesn't rub on, rub off kind of thing. So it seems really how bound the electrons are will dictate how well something will conduct heat. Electricity is a stream of electrons. That's a tricky business right there. Now, electricity is a stream and the electrons are floating in the stream. It's probably a better way to say it. Electricity is think of these magnets and say if I had them all put heads up and they were all repulsive to each other and they all had a force between them. Well, what you would kind of do is you could push one end and all the magnets would move. Now, what are you really moving? You're moving the force. The force is what's moving. It's not necessarily the electron. So you can have a lot more force going on either side of the electron. You can have a stream of force, and the electrons are just kind of moving with the force. But it's the force that's really what you're moving. You're moving force. You're moving tons through the wire, and the electrons are floating along, for the ride. Let's see. Time is an illusion because distance of traveling objects. Well, that's not even a rational sentence, not a complete sentence, not even an argument. It's just an absolute pile of capital letters mush. So whatever. You're not going to last too longer. Transgendered, non-binary. I don't even know what the fuck does that even mean. You really are way out there, aren't you? Let's see. I've proven this in my home lab. I've proven what? you know, time is a consequence of distance. It's just retarded. Uh, well, no. Time is a consequence of movement. It takes time for something to move. The quanta takes time for them to go from here to there at the speed of light. It still takes time. So, yes, there's the invention of time. Time is a function of the quanta. Everything is a function of the quanta. Everything is a derivative of the function of the little bits. The little bits are the only thing really doing anything. Everything else is just a consequence. Like I said, if you have a school of fish, you understand that the fish make the school, right? The school doesn't make the fish. I don't even know what that means. I am the neutronious gender. I don't know, whatever. I'm not a male or female. I have changed from my initial gender. Do I care? I mean, it's something you want to wear on your sleeve, huh? Like that's important to you? It's not important to me. I don't really give a shit. Frankly, if you actually had your own dick in your ass right now, I don't really care. I mean, I really just don't. I'm not even interested to see pictures, frankly. No, I didn't ask. I read your fucking name and said, what the fuck is this retard about? I'm trying to figure out what the fuck you're talking about. You're typing in capitals like you know something. You apparently don't know shit. And then I asked a logical question. What the fuck is this crap? Well, I'm not a bigot, asshole. I have a right to sit there and notice that somebody's wearing it on their sleeves, jackass. You're going to wear something on your sleeve and then call me a bigot for noticing. Oh, well, I don't have to take that, fuckhead. And I don't think I will. So I'll just say goodnight to you. Go play with your own kind and such. Blah, blah, blah. Fuck you. I wish I could harass you. I wish I could go into your room and be a nonsensical rubbish talker. Why am I still here? I was leaving and I didn't do it. All right, we'll try one more Ken episode.
We'll meet up and do crazy stuff or something like that.
Oh, they're going to have meet up. You're going to meet up and do crazy stuff. Oh, that's the end. He quit. Just so abruptly. More comments below. Yes, I want to see those. Yes, buy it. Jesus loves you. Let's see. 139. Ken is worth it. Power pack. See you, Ken. Night all. Ta-ta from England. Oh, that's a special person. Sulu. I don't know. I guess that's some sort of foreign language for go get fatter. Catch some sleep. Thanks. Good night, Ken. 6:44 a.m. And what? Finland or something? You the man, broski. Oh, God. Shit. That stuff's almost painful. Thanks for the lens recommendation. Yeah, I really love my $700 stupid piece of glass shit. Yeah, sold the cat to buy it. Man. I mean, you can buy some pretty good hookers for $700. I mean, shit. So anyway, without even trying, I've once again defeated the Ken by lasting longer in my room. Ha 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 ha. Gee, I can't help but defeat him. Let's see. You are in his room. I don't know what that means. If all is physical, what is the magic force? Oh, I don't know what that means. Blue Rose Rocket Band. Oh dear, that doesn't sound good. I don't even know what that means. What is the magic force? Oh, magnetic. Sorry. Boy, I have to. I have to buy some new eyeballs. These are fuzzy. Yeah. If all is physical, what is the magnetic force? The magnetic force is merely a conversion of gravity. So you're just basically polarizing an existing force. And the catch is that protons and electrons are oppositely polarized, obviously, the opposite charge thing. And so they are attracted and repulsed by the opposite field energy. So a magnet produces a energy at one end that electrons are attracted to, and at the other end, one that the protons are attracted to. You can sort of think of it that way. And the opposite effect. They have the opposite effect on each other. So one produces a field energy that's invisible to the other. And so you can sort of get the idea that if you turn the magnet's opposite end, that one is doing the invisible thing to that one, and this one's doing the invisible thing to that one. So the outside force pushes them together. And then when they're repulsing, they're producing things that are repulsive to each other, stronger, more likely to cause a reflection. And so you have this field energy bouncing back and forth between them, trapped because it can't get into either one because it's bouncing off both. And so they are repulsed. And the closer you push them together, the more bouncing that's happening between them. So you can't push them together. But that's the basic idea. I didn't do a great job of explaining, but it's just a polarization thing. So the field energy is doubled in one circumstance and zero in the other. So it neutralizes out to the same as gravity in the end. That's why there's no gravitational difference. But the difference between the two poles is a doubling of the force or an annihilation of the force, essentially. I have a better explanation in the written documentation. Probably have videos that are probably a better explanation, but it's not too difficult to figure out. I mean, it's probably I have to come up with like a real simple 2-sentence kind of way, 3-sentence kind of way to explain it, but it's just a quirk of polarization. Force is negated by specific polarizations and such. Oh, so the little symbol chick is here. Really, I don't like symbols much, but anyway, yeah, a star. And what the little star represents. Yeah, a star. Yay. Maybe. Unless it's conspiring to do something sneaky. But anyway. A good question. I asked a good question. Amazing. Anyway, I probably should go to bed or something like that. Yeah, I just got so much to do, and I just don't want to do any of it. I really hate when I'm in this kind of mood. I hate everything on my agenda. It's like everything on the agenda sucks. Yeah, I don't even want to think about tomorrow. Fuck. Yeah, I don't want to do it. I do have to go into the house one more time, but I gotta fix that. I gotta do shit in the attic. I gotta fix the roof. I got all kinds of shit I gotta do. I hate everything. Got paperwork I gotta do. Gotta, whatever. Just, so much to do. My doctor is retiring, so I'm gonna find a fucking doctor of some kind. Shit. Shit. Yeah. Anyway. So anyway, I think I'll go. Any other news? Let's see. Is there any news on the table here? Nothing over here. What's on this piece of paper? Anything profound and interesting? Important, I said. Knowledge. Yeah. Robot. Let's be irrational, please. Can't be honest or true. You need to lie to people. Ah, that's true. Fake it up to sneak in the door. Yeah, I've been drinking that day. Anyway, what's wrong with me? I don't know. There's nothing specifically wrong with me. It's just that just that, I have a thyroid problem, so I have to get a prescription for that. I mean, I have to have a doctor for, I get Lyme disease every now and then. You need a doctor for that kind of shit to get penicillin and all that kind of crap. So you need somebody who can write you a damn prescription once in a while. So, yeah, well, I haven't seen a doctor. I was also without doctoring for 25 or 30 years, and then I had a stroke. And so, I did try to get a doctor, and I was lucky to find one that makes house calls. So it's not easy to find doctors that do that kind of shit anymore. And so then I found out I had a thyroid issue, and and then I got Lyme disease 9 times. Yeah, 9 times. I think it's 10 times, but I say 9 because one time is, who knows for sure. Anyway, I'm just complaining, right? The doctor thing isn't a huge problem. It's just a problem, it's just something you have to deal with, and I just don't want to deal with it. Jeez, fuckers won't even let me complain a little bit. Yeah, this is the letter I got from them. Yeah. Dear patient, fuck you, I'm retiring. Ha 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 ha. Eat shit and die, sucker. Pretty much. So anyway, I'm underthyroided. Whatever the word for that is, fucking thing ain't working. Oh, whatever. All these people and their little home cures for everything. Jeez. Anyway. How do you like them caps? Yeah, I really don't like them much, actually. Binary for life. Oh, the transgender binary guy. Jesus. He had to come back, right? Just couldn't stay away. Now he's genital. The genital. God, the silly fuckers on earth. They really ought to pass a law against it. No more silly fucking. You fuck right or you don't fuck at all. Anyway, I think I'm leaving now. Yes. Yeah, I think I am. And so till the next time. And yes, this was a bit of a waste room. I probably should just delete it because it really wasn't very functional. But I sort of have a pattern of not deleting things, so I won't. But anyway. Yes. Well, sorry about the pickling thing. I guess it happens. You're pickled on a Thursday. That's probably not a good sign, though. What are your views on cosmology? Well, it's all full of shit. Unfortunately, one of my bigger views is dark matter is a big fat lie. Gravitational lensing is nonsense. Gravitational waves is preposterously silly cunt nonsense. So, what are you going to do? Oh, and Angela's drinking with the fucking drunks. Nope. It's not good. Anyway, is it late at night? Yeah, I think it is. It's getting later every second that's ticking on. 2 o'clock in the morning. Oh, fuck. Yeah, well, not a big deal. But anyway, yeah, I didn't maximize the potential of this broadcast in any way whatsoever. Just kind of let it slip through my fingers. Had an opportunity to change everything to just totally win the day, the week, the month, the year, the millennia, and I just totally squandered the opportunity. My bad. Yeah. Shucks. So maybe next time. Or not. I have to get some kind of I gotta get something like I don't know. I have like light bulbs. They're supposed to be like, but all they end up being is I'm going to fade you into, whatever this is. This kind of flat, kind of dull. I don't know why it's doing that. I mean, if I turn the light off, it just recompensates and goes, well, that's a little better maybe. But isn't that stupid? Turning the light off works. I mean, that's just retarded. I have to figure this out. Let's see, Gary, can I have... Oh, there's a blocky thing in my way. I can't even read what you're writing, cunts. Stupid browser's failing, I guess. Gary, can I have a link? I have to wait till the comment moves past this stupid blocky thing in the way. Oh, that's all it says. Link to what? Link me. Oh, it's you. It's Michael guy. Oh, there was a fake you in here before. All right, let's see. I'll try my new linking plan. See if I can get this Skype by linking. Well, I'll just post a link. What the fuck? Troller 2 pops in. No big deal. Right. We can survive a Troller 2. We're men. Oh. Good American men and kind of half a man Australian, something like that. It's like maybe you're a 1/4, Australians. How many full Americans does it take? No, that's the wrong way to say it. How many Australians? Yeah, how many half Australians does it take to make a full American? So, do you have the link there, Michael? Do you have it? Verify the having. Got it? You must have it by now. Yeah. Probably pretty sure he has it by now, right? Yeah. Crappy. No response. Talk is good. Well, I don't know. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's bad. Sometimes it's depressing. Sometimes it's worrisome. Sometimes it's all kinds of stuff. But anyway, I guess he has the link by now. I'm going to remove it so the trolls can't get access to it. There. Okay. I gave him enough time, I think. Plenty of time. Stay lucky cause fuzzy 10 times as fast as you can. What? Say lucky cause fuzzy. Okay. Say lucky cause fuzzy. Lucky cause fuzzy, lucky cause fuzzy, lucky cause fuzzy. Lucky cause fuzzy. Yes, as fast as I could say something stupid. Anyway. Yes, getting old sucks. It's so damn true. Browser issues again. Oh, I thought you had that all figured out with your Opera. But apparently he has issues. Okay. See if he can fix them with his Australian technical skills. There he is. He made it. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Thought I'd find the best British hello for you.
Yes, mockingly British. Anyway.
I tried to connect to the room again, and the Opera browser was telling me to install the plugin. So, seems to happen occasionally where it just doesn't like me. Oh, you've got a god person here.
Yeah, well, he's not going to last too long.
He might have a science question for you. Oh, he's muting people.
Yeah, he's just evil. So we'll have to take care of him when he comes in the room again. do the appropriate kicking of the asshole.
Anybody challenged your theories yet?
So
You had anything
next time
today?
I'll have to give you the link personally. Anyway, yeah, I'll Skype it to you. I actually think I can Skype now. Take a minute, but a minute's not too long.
Okay, we're fine. What's happened? I saw your latest video on. Thanks for having a look at that BBC video. You mentioned that you've looked at that once before.
Yeah, I have done. I did the part. I might have done the whole video. I don't remember how much of it I did the last time, but I did like a year ago or whatever. I did ridicule the nonsense physics in the video. So yeah, there is a video of me mocking it, but I decided to remock it some more.
Yeah, no, it's good. I'm glad you did. I think obviously it's pretty easy for you to pull apart, and it is interesting. I think the way they deliberately say things like it is so, it's so obvious it's a wave. The theory was not challenged for its time. You make a mockery of it. It's like, yeah, well, nobody's challenging it. Nobody's thinking about it, and how the people would be so stupid to accept a different type of prognosis for what's happening. And it's just like what you said. It's a propaganda video.
Yeah, and the whole chain of like I said, the reconstruction, it's in a way, it's just so silly that they'd even bring up this two-slit thing as if it made any difference. Like I said, when you go right back to Newton and take Newton's rings, and Newton's rings is really the single slit experiment, all right? It's just doing it in a circular way, but I mean, all you have to do is cut the top of the circles off and you get the idea that the rings are just the same on-off pattern. So there's no, Newton's rings are single slit diffraction. And it's like they're pretending this is some new discovery in, 18 whatever, and it's not. It's, this is Newton shit. And
one of the key things in that, in all of these videos, as you've pointed out, they deliberately don't show the single split experiment because they know that's going to defeat their explanation straight away.
Yeah, and then they're going to have to say that Huygens word, and they're going to have to explain how, well, we use this principle, and it's, it's kind of weird, but yeah, this is how it works, and they'll be all jokey about what they're doing, but obviously they're not using Huygens in the double slit experiment because they know it would turn into the four slit experiment mathematically. So they know it's not a principle. They know it's just a contrivance to make it work, to force the existence of a second photon in a circumstance where it's inconceivable where it could come from. There's no conceivable way to make the second photon in the single slit experiment, right? But you can't play this silly game that it splits in two. Why would it split in two when it's heading for one opening? I mean, why would the photon say split in two and go through both? Oh, wait a minute, there's only one opening. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? What do we do?
I know. So, but the sad thing about that is it is a form of religious mysticism, because they are telling people that these particles are forming waves and that they are somehow communicating with each other. Like, I'm not quite sure, but is that their spooky communication at a distance theory? What the hell's that?
Well, it's a different spooky theory. Yeah, it's a different spook. But yeah, I don't know how to, it's kind of hard to even, like I said, yeah, it's hard to say why exactly the chain of events. But I'm just saying that's what I'm sort of getting to, is that they sort of got glued to this idea, and then in hindsight they figured out, oh, we're so full of shit, and so they found out too late. Yeah, you have to unmute yourself, I guess, if you're muted. I'm not muted. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think somebody got that link.
Yeah, well, like I say, next time I'll send it privately. I knew that was sort of a mistake.
Somebody else this is the guy that muted, so.
You have the power to eject. It's just that you got to be quick. You got to hit the little arrow on their icon, and then you have to select eject.
Okay, well, we can put up with it. It's all right. Actually, the other day I asked you a question about the clumping of gravity, and I have to only had those thoughts about the clumping of gravity the night before, and I think because I wanted to join your room and have something to discuss, I didn't sort of make that clear enough. So I didn't prepare a list of questions, and I don't have one now. I've just joined quickly. But I guess I'm excusing my stupidity from the other day. So I've been thinking about how gravity is that the right word to use? Gravitons in the field?
I don't know what word I want to use. I mean, I kind of wanted to go with quanton and just make everything a quanton, and then I don't have to worry about doing gravity and magnetism and light and doing this ton thing. But yeah, it's hard to say what the right, I don't know. I obviously the current physics doesn't properly describe these things. So,
But you and I, well, you need to create a language that people trying to learn what you're imparting can understand. So, I mean, it's just quantra different frequency, right?
Well, polarization is the other issue. So it's more than just, frequency is only relevant in a sense, right? When it comes to things like how things interact with each other. So, frequency is kind of irrelevant except for to electrons and certain specific circumstances where it's going to matter with this tipping point argument. But otherwise, frequency doesn't really matter. It's the force, right? It's the idea that this thing is going to interact with you and cause acceleration because it's going to bounce off of you. And when it bounces off of you, you're going to gain its momentum and blah, 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 blah. So that's the real game. It's bullets. The fact that sometimes in particular circumstances, it's advantageous to shoot the bullets at just the right time. You know what I mean? If a pendulum's swinging, you shoot the bullet when the pendulum's over to the right and you hit the right time, you hit the pendulum. You know what I mean? So there's places where timing matters, but in the broad scheme of things, yeah, it doesn't. But so gravity would be just a randomized field with no polarization specifically. There'd be no rays at a specific polarization, for example. And yeah, it would just be the raw quanta, okay, with various polarizations and without any specific frequency. So it's just a bunch of bullets coming at variable intervals with variable sizes of bullet, or however you want to do the polarization thing, various colors.
Yeah, so I've only spent a small amount of time thinking about how gravity, and I don't want to say gravity waves, so the gravity field or the gravitons or the particles of gravity, just as a bit of a thought experiment. So if you have a block of gold that's 1 kilo and a block of silver that's 1 kilo, the block of gold is smaller, so it's got a smaller surface area, but there's more tightly packed atoms into that package of 1 kilogram, right?
Well, it really doesn't matter. The only thing moving are the electrons, let's say, and the protons. They're the only things being affected by the gravity are the neutrons. So it's just the atomic parts that are actually being affected, and they're all being affected independently of each other. So there's no real relationship between the size or mass. It just has to do with the fact that something can be hit. So the existence of matter, which is the three-dimensional stuff in the one-dimensional field, the field of one-dimensional things coming from all directions, which is the same as a three-dimensional force. But I'm just saying it's not a coherent three-dimensional force. So all I'm saying is it doesn't really matter. Mass is irrelevant because the only thing you're interacting with in the end is the fish. You're just adding another fish to a school of fish.
Yeah, hang on. So the reason why my first thing that I thought of was how gravity, so I'm trying to ascertain how gravity interacts with physical objects. And my first thought was, well, maybe it's the amount of exposed surface area, like on a basic level, right? Just simplistic thinking. So
I know, but think of it, it's something you always have to go back to, like one of these register points, the fundamental things that you always have to remember is, as I've pointed out, in this kinetic schema, the momentum always travels through everything. You know what I mean? So nothing ever gets consumed or absorbed. The only thing that's really happening is the polarization argument, the wearer of the hat. So the hat keeps changing owner, but the actual stuff is moving. So when you think about the gravity, it's not getting used up. The momentum is traveling right through the object.
Yeah,
And what
I can
really
understand.
just happens is that for a period of time, the hat moves with the momentum of the gravity. And so it's the hat problem that's the only problem that's real.
Yeah, obviously, when you get time or when you get the computer software to create a model, I know you're probably avoiding doing that like everything else. But a model would obviously help. But I mean, I know it's not surface area exposed that reacts with the gravity. It's the matter within the object. And when you think about it, if we do call them gravitons, or if you call it gravitons, they do have to keep passing through the object. They can't get stuck. And this is why I said the other day, I know my thinking was wrong now, but when I sort of was asking, the clumping of gravity, that's where I first started. It's like, well, it can't clump. It has to be.
The argument I would make is that most of the gravity, maybe even most of it, goes right through. The bullets don't have any effect. So it's almost like I could say, let's say if I made you out of Swiss cheese or something. And so any kind of like a smaller than a 44 caliber bullet goes right straight through. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I thought
Sorry.
Yeah, I know. I just missed him. But anyway, so the small bullets go through you and there's no effect, and it's only a certain size bullet that's going to, knock a piece out of you or whatever, make you move. So it's sort of that argument, is that you're only going to be affected by the polarization that you're sensitive to, and this polarization you're insensitive to goes right through you like it never happened. So gravity is full of these different kinds of polarization, and the only a percentage of gravity is actually going to affect you. And so all you're really saying is how much polarization do I have on one side of me versus how much polarization is coming at me from the other side. So you're really just arguing about what is happening on one side of me. Is it making more blue? And I'm sensitive to red. So now I have more red on one side of me, and the other side turned the red into blue. So now I have more blue on one side and more red on the other one side. And so now the side that has more red is obviously going to be more influential in owning the hats. So as the hat exchange is happening, there's more red guys coming in and they'll wear the hat, and the blue guys can't wear a hat. So they'll never move my hats. So my hats are just getting moved by the red, and none of them are getting moved by the blue. So my hats are going to move with the red.
Yeah.
It gets, like I say, it gets a little complicated, because I'd like to be able to just say a fish goes into the school and it kicks another fish out, and it's that simple. But it's obviously more complicated than that, because the fish don't turn around. The fish have to exchange their fishness. Their belonging to the school has to be exchanged with another fish, and no fish can ever turn around, so to speak.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with your explanation. I know just by listening to I can tell but obviously when you get time to get your model happening, it'll be easier to keep referring back to. I mean, you deal with this stuff every day.
Saying the model still isn't going to be able to show you the force going through things. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if I make a model, that's going to have to be another layer of the model to demonstrate the actual fact that the momentum actually did travel through something. So I mean, I'm still going to have a little bit of a problem dealing with that underlying truth. So I'm still just saying that's the real context. So I'm just saying, when we talk about this idea of a momentum exchange, it's really not, it's only the momentum of polarization. So it's always about the specific polarization and how specific polarization is affected. So it's really about fish wearing hats, and it's really not about fish. And I know that sounds like an evasion almost, but it's just, that's the truth of it. It's only about what affects fish wearing hats.
Yeah, but the problem you and I've got is that I reached my level of incompetence in physics weeks ago when we started talking. So
Well, I'm just saying that it's either visually perceivable or it's not. I don't think I mean, I'm just saying I don't think I'm relying on anything too technical in
no.
describing the circumstance. So I'm just saying if you're indicating that somehow you can't get up to the learning curve, I'm still going to say, well, if you can't get up to the learning curve, then I'm not explaining it very well because this is so simple. I don't know how I can possibly convert it into something just simple enough for you to understand them, because I don't know what the barrier is. I mean, it's kind of a simple analogy, you know. It's like humans with a fucking unicycle or something, and the only ones that matter are the ones on the unicycle. Okay, they're the only ones that can actually do something, and everything else is still going to happen the way it's going to happen. But the unicycle guys are the ones that have to jump off and jump on.
Yeah, it's all the same principle. It's just either unicircle guys, Yeah, because you had the other day, I heard one of your explanations was, you know, for God's sake, it's just some of these fish have got purses and some have got handbags.
Well, I was just trying to turn into some other analogy for the blue and red idea. You know what I mean? Just make the blue the wallet, make the red a handbag, and then you'll understand that these are different sexes, or these are different, you know, that they're segregatable, that the handbag people hang out with handbaggers and the wallet people hang out with walleters. And, you know, so it's coming up with that kind of analogy. But ultimately, the point is that what's happening is the rider is disposable. And it's really just, where's the unicycle going? And I know it sounds like I'm talking about just the color moving, but that's what it really is about. It's not really about the thing that's moving. It's about the thing being ridden.
Yeah, actually, so one of the things you mentioned the other day about electricity, it's not flowing down the wire. It's the magnetic field that flows across it. And it's like, well, it's completely different thinking because, you know, I was educated to believe that
well, the stream can be going a lot faster than the kayak. You know what I mean? It's like you can have a river and somebody could be kayaking downstream, and they're going much slower than the actual river is. You know, there's a lot more river going past them than their actual kayak indicates. So an electron can be like the kayak, but it's the stream that's really the flow of the energy. The energy's in the stream, not in the electrons.
Yeah, that makes sense. Mm. Yeah, all right. I'll just have I can't think of any. I've only just got home an hour ago and I really haven't had time to prepare anything. And the unfortunate thing is you need someone to challenge you on this and no one's rocking up to the argument.
Yeah, well, sooner or later I'll be able to find somebody. I think you know, I got to find some people I can bribe or do something. There's got to be a way to create the atmosphere. I mean, it's got to be to somebody's advantage to realize there's an argument to be had here. You know, it'd be worth doing. I just got to find somebody with the cojones to do it, so to speak.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen because if you look at obviously all the videos on YouTube about this particular topic are pro-wave and all of the people are being schooled in that. I mean,
well, I know, but there's got to be a point where you can actually humiliate them enough. You know what I'm saying? Where you actually nail them hard enough where it starts to get a little bit annoying because people will start asking them, you know, what about that DraftScience guy? You know what I mean? If they start saying that enough times, then they're going to have to feel like they'll have to defend their turf, you know, because they're getting irritated by the fact that I keep getting brought up. So something like that, I can, you know, envision that being possible. So,
well, the only way to really do that is to market yourself as a product and boost the amount of views that you're getting. And one way you can do that, and this is and I don't seriously mean it, but you'll have to put some kittens in your videos so that you can get 15 million people looking at it.
Well, I mean, certainly that's one approach. I don't think I'll resort to that, but we'll see. I don't, you know, I'm not above it, I don't think, but, you know, I don't think I'll go until I really feel like I have to. I just guess I don't have to yet. So I guess I won't until I feel I have to. So I guess I'll wait till I'm really, you know,
desperate.
Yes, until I'm really almost homeless and I really have to get it done now or it's never going to get done, that kind of thing.
We're all close to being homeless.
You know.
Just most people don't realize it.
Well, I mean, everybody's closer than they think, I guess would be a good way to put it. Yeah, the economy is going to make a lot of people homeless. You know, a lot of people who think they're you know, they own their life, they're going to find out they don't own shit.
Yes, it's all owned by the creators of digital credit.
Yeah, yeah, the inheritors of, you know, pawn tickets.
Those people operating with the safety net.
Yes, cunts. Yeah. Useless.
I know this is your Draft Science channel, and I don't wish to change the topic, but
Well,
I
you're
think
entitled. You've earned a few. I'll let you go there.
sure. I think you're having your third Trump and Hillary Clinton debate probably as we speak.
Yeah, it's over, thankfully.
Okay, I'm looking forward to you making one of your dump videos again. They're quite amusing.
Yeah, I think I'll wait till like a week before the election. I'll just make my last little statement about what kind of low life bug kind of moron, you know, votes for this useless, you know, jackass who's done nothing in his fucking life but squander money. He hasn't made any money. He just squandered it, stole it from other people, didn't do a motherfucking thing of merit in his whole fucking life, you know. And you want to make him a president. Yeah, fuck that. You're an idiot.
Yeah, you said something interesting. I think it was one of your videos when you did the dump videos that you know, he probably made a lot of his money just off interest. And there's a few people speculate that he's not actually worth billions, and he might only be worth millions or tens of millions.
No, he's really wasted it all. I mean, obviously, if he hasn't paid, he's even admitting now that he hasn't paid federal income tax at any time recently. So he still hasn't made back the $1 billion he lost in 1982 or whatever it was, right? Well, 1992, I think. So if he still hasn't recovered that $1 billion, that means he couldn't have made more than $100 million a year for the last 15 years. And if his net worth was $2 billion back then, how could it possibly be any more than that now, right? You know what I'm saying? He hasn't had enough income, and the real estate value wasn't worth. I mean, obviously real estate goes up. So, I mean, you could say, yes, maybe the real estate value has gone up by 60%. So maybe he could be worth $3 billion just in the asset value of the real estate he owns. But by that same argument, I could say that his debt load is high enough that the interest on his debt probably ate up a lot of that value. You know what I mean? Whatever he gained on his real estate, he lost based on those outstanding loans. So, yeah. You know, but yeah, he's a liar. He's just a grotesque liar, you know? I mean, it's just amazing that he gets away with that kind of crap.
It is pretty amazing because it's obvious to me and my immediate family that he's obviously lying to people, but it's like a lot of people don't want to accept that they're being lied to, and they'll defend it. It's like those 5 stages of, you know, denial, acceptance. Well, the people aren't even getting past the first stage of.
Well, it doesn't really matter. I mean, obviously, people are. You know, I would almost argue that I could also be likewise impelled if I just say, well, somebody is for one thing I want to get done. So if somebody was for, like, say, abolishing inheritance, so they were going to get rid of inheritance, and so we'd be free of this stupid blight of, you know, of welfare to the rich, you know, and people would actually have to earn money instead of inheriting it. Well, yeah, I'd say, okay, if the guy's a pedophile, it's probably still worth it. So yeah, he can molest a few kids as long as he's going to do that for me. Okay, if he's going to do that good in the world, okay, I can almost justify all kinds of crimes. He could be a mass murderer, and I'd probably say, it's okay. And so it's the Trump syndrome it's just that everybody is so sick of fucking foreigners, right? I mean, everybody's pretending that everybody loves to have all these foreigners in their country. And no, the average human being says, fuck this shit. I'm sick of people not speaking English. I'm sick of burkas in fucking Walmart. I'm sick of this arrogance of these foreign fuckers who just decide they own the country all of a sudden. I'm sick that they don't even want to learn our fucking language. They don't want to respect our fucking customs. They're fucking overtly obnoxious to everything we believe in, right? They don't want a secular country. They want to fucking own the goddamn government. They're just fucking useless sacks of shit. And everybody's sick of them, right? So that's why they're pro-Trump, is they're like, yeah, I'm sick of fucking foreigners. And they just the Democratic Party is like, oh no, we have more foreigners for you. Here, have some more foreigners. And we're like, fuck you. So yeah,
Okay.
Donald Trump becomes votable because people are sick of foreigners. It's just a fact. And the Democrats have foreigners flying out of their ass. They're just like they can't make enough foreigners to throw in your face and say, I'm going to make a foreigner live right next to you. And I'm going to have a foreigner driving your bus. I'm going to have a foreigner doing every goddamn thing you can imagine. There's going to be a fucking foreigner doing it.
Okay. I presume there must be a lot of high unemployment over there then if people are becoming that annoyed with
Well, it's not even
foreigners.
unemployment. There's plenty of jobs if you fucking want to live on $10 an hour. Yeah, there's lots of jobs if you can live on $10 an hour when your rent is $1,200 a month. So I mean, do the fucking math. Okay, yeah, I got to pay $1,200 for my rent. I grossed $800 this month. So how does that work, right? I mean, that's not going to work, right?
Well, it's not going to work, but unfortunately, I don't agree with it. I mean, I have to try and earn money too, but it seems like all of the industry's being offloaded to. It's not
I'm
much
just
industry
saying
going.
that any excess labor just makes labor less valuable is the point. So I'm just saying that yes, anything to increase, the labor force is just totally caustic to anybody trying to make a living.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Well,
just like saying, look, we're going to enter more people in the Olympics. You're trying to win the gold medal, and they just say, no, I'm going to keep entering more and more athletes to diminish your chance of ever winning. And somebody's supposed to feel good about that. Why the fuck would I feel good about that?
but this is the problem that's being faced now. I mean, you've got everything's becoming automated. And I think you mentioned it the other day that there was a car factory in Germany that had 30 people and it's just pumping out cars. Is that right?
Yeah, it's an amazing piece of technology, just absolutely amazing. Because almost nothing is touched by a human being. The only thing the human beings do is push the computer buttons, and that's it. The whole thing is a fucking machine.
I'm sure it exists, but do you know which company it was? I wouldn't mind having a look into that.
It's one of the big ones over there, BMW or something. One of the classic German car companies.
So one of the things you said about Trump was, this guy's still living in the 1950s where he thinks they're just going to create a car industry and go back to spray painting them by hand. And that's exactly right. You can't. Everything's gone to the point now where the robots are spray painting the cars.
Right. And if you do this stupid thing where you say, well, I'm going to pretend the real world doesn't exist, well, then you're going to have to pay twice as much for your fucking iPhone. You're going to have to pay twice as much for everything. And nobody will do that. So this is all kind of nonsense, right? Because nobody's going to accept that. No one's going to say, oh, I'm willing to pay an extra, twice as much for everything. No one's going to agree with that.
So what do you think will end up, what's the future looking like in 20 years' time then, or 50 years' time? If all of these industries get automated, how do people
well, that's
earn a
why
salary?
you have to take the money from the rich, because then you can revalue work. And so instead of getting paid for 8 hours work, you can get paid for 4 hours work. Because we don't need people to work as much because the machines are doing so much. So I'm just saying some of this value from this productivity can be given back to the people to spend instead of the rich people hoarding it. And that'll drive prices way down. So if you disenfranchise the rich, you have to kind of understand that what happens is the value of everything goes way down because it's only rich people money that's propping all the prices up, right? It's only the fact that I can borrow $100,000 from a bank that makes it possible for house prices to keep increasing, right? Because we're basically bidding on how much we can borrow. You're saying, well, I can borrow 90,000. I said, I can borrow 110,000. And you say, I can borrow 135,000. And we're just bidding on borrowed money. We're not bidding on our asset value. We're bidding on how much we can borrow.
Yeah, that's one of the problems that we've got in Australia. In Sydney, Australia, I think that's the largest, it's the largest city. A lot of the foreign investments forcing up the property value so high now that a lot of the Indigenous people here really can't afford to purchase a house or get a mortgage.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that this is the problem with rich people's money is that it's used to inflate the prices of everything. So everybody doesn't realize how accessible the world will really become again if you get rid of this debt money that's forcing us all to compete with debt money, with borrowed money. We're all competing with, a 50-year mortgage on everything we're buying. We're buying everything on a mortgage, essentially. We're renting our existence. We're not buying our existence.
And we're the only animal on the planet that's paying each other to live here.
So yeah, that's the only fix for the problem. But I mean, it's a real problem in the sense that the world has to get back to this idea of sustainability and productivity, and so we have to organize our civilization. We can't do all this reckless reproducing. You have to reproduce in some sort of sensible, moderate way where you create human beings that are skilled and all of this crap, and not a bunch of this stupid welfare horse shit. I mean, here it's really bad because that's another problem with the foreigners, right? 70% of the foreigners end up in 2 years' time, they end up on welfare. And with kids, and what good is that? Who's winning in that war? I mean, nobody wins, right?
Yeah. So we need something like a Brave New World.
Well, you just need a brave new idea. But yeah, I mean, you gotta figure out that just the rich welfare whores are much more expensive than the poor welfare whores, but they're both got to go. Okay, I mean, the lazy, useless slobs at the poor end are bad, but the useless waste products at the high end are just as bad. So you got to get rid of both the waste. The waste ends have to go. The people not making a contribution to your civilization have to be called what they are, blight, and they have to be, in some sort of methodical, careful, maybe dignified way. They have to be winnowed out. You have to quit making rich people and quit making poor people, because both of them suck. Rich people suck, poor people suck. That's the truth.
But I'm gathering that you're not a wealthy person, because I'm definitely not, and at least you and I are trying to contribute with something, with some sort of a thought of experiment about reality. So as though, although it's not a financial value, it is of some other value.
Well, I'm just saying that obviously there's a ton of people though who aren't doing that. They think they're entitled. Okay, they think they're entitled to a house and a life, and they're entitled to have kids, and they're entitled to do all this shit on somebody else's labor. And that's the part that's bullshit. You're not entitled by existing. You have to actually make some kind of contribution. If you can't make a contribution, then you have to at least have the dignity to be polite about taking the money. You know what I mean? I mean, be grateful, and they're not grateful. They're fucking, pigs, and you give them money for welfare, and they spend it on lottery tickets. It's just bullshit.
Yeah, but I guess that's the problem with people that are, unfortunately, have no access to education.
I'm just saying that this education doesn't take what education does it take not to be an asshole? I mean, you know what I'm saying? This isn't something you need to go to school for. You know what I mean? You didn't need to go to school to figure out that you should wipe your feet before you go into somebody else's house, or that you shouldn't litter, that you shouldn't make a mess, you shouldn't throw the matches from your cigarette in somebody else's fucking lawn and burn their house down. I mean, these are just basic common sense decency things. And I'm just saying that the poor have no decency ethics. They're fucking indecent motherfucking cunts who think they're entitled, and so are the fucking rich. They think they're fucking entitled. I inherited it, therefore I'm better, I'm special, I should own you. Fuck you. You haven't earned it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I did see a pretty disgusting example of just what you're talking about yesterday. Somebody in public did something what I considered to be pretty grotty, and it was somebody in their 20s, and when I didn't say anything to this stranger first, and he sort of remarked something at me, and I said, well, you're filthy. It was disgusting. And it's like, nobody's taught that guy how to behave in public, and it just seems like society's actually degrading. I mean, look at the amount of people that
people know this shit. It's like making excuses for pedophiles or making excuses for things. People know when they're being assholes. They know when they're being takers, and they're just getting away with it because they can, and that's the problem. They just have no character. And I'm not saying you're not true that they were badly raised. Obviously, they were badly raised, but I'm just saying that this learning curve doesn't require much more than having the decency, not to steal overtly out of my pocket. And I'm saying they don't even have that kind of decency. If they can get away with it, they will steal money right the fuck out of my pocket.
Yeah. Well,
I think the kind of stuff I wouldn't care if they all fell out of the lifeboat. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying I couldn't. I'm not throwing them off. I'm saying let's pay them to be sterilized so they don't spread their blight and all that kind of shit. Okay, But you know,
paving
I'm not
roads with
saying we have to
people.
fucking machete them to death. I'm just saying it's clearly this isn't anything healthy for civilization. This isn't the way to do it. This isn't a role model or a poster child. This is the poster child of blight and disease and festering pustule. Okay, poor people suck. Okay, and we can keep all being sympathetic, but the truth is they suck and they want to spread their suck.
I'm poor. I don't suck, and I don't want to spread my
Well, I'm just
suckiness.
saying I don't think you are poor. I don't think you're stealing out of some working man's pocket and pissing the money away on booze or lottery tickets.
Yeah, I've got a small business with a very low income, and I can tell you, I'm far from wealthy. I don't own anything.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, well, so where are you coming to this conversation? I'm not talking. I'm talking about people trying. Okay, even if there's a poor person trying. Again, I'm just saying they just have to have humility. That's all. Be
Yeah,
grateful for the system that will take care of you and take care of your kids. And my point is they're not fucking grateful. They're fucking sitting there saying, I want more. Give me more. I'm entitled. I can buy lottery tickets. I can have as many kids as I want. It's not, who are you to mind your own business? No, it is my business because you're fucking cunt. You're not realizing you're not paying for it, you shithead. Somebody working is.
yeah, yeah. I do, and I don't agree. I mean, obviously humans want to be free, but I also would be concerned about people coming along and saying you don't have enough money in your bank to produce children. And although I know it's a logical thing that you shouldn't be poor and have children because they just get brought up in
Well, it's a
poor
molestation, in
circumstances.
my opinion. It's no different than molesting a kid. Okay, I mean, sentencing a kid to poverty is a molestation, in my opinion. So you might as well just. I mean, I'd rather you sexually molest a child than sentence it to the ignorance of poverty, the deprivations of poverty. Fuck that. That's cruel and unusual punishment. It's a fucking torturous crap to be dumping that on a kid. You don't raise a kid in the middle of fucking Harlem. You don't sit there in the middle of a dirty, stinking, lousy, slummy, scummy junkyard shithole of a slum and sit there and say, I'm gonna pop a baby out in this fucking sewage.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll give it drug addiction, at birth. Maybe I'll give it AIDS at fucking birth. That's how responsible these douchebags are. I'm just saying that's got to be recognized. I'm not, like I said, I'm not looking to run over every poor person. I'm just saying there's plenty of poor people that are trying, and I'm saying, okay, let's reward them for trying. But there's plenty of poor people who aren't trying to be anything but a fucking thief. That's all they're trying to do. They're just trying to get away with it. They're shoplifting motherfuckers. They're always costing society a huge amount. They don't give a fuck about working people. They just think they're fucking entitled.
yep. It's a pretty long. There's no. Yeah. Okay. For me, there's no immediate solution to that.
Well, to me, it's just a learning thing. So to me, if the society says you suck, that would be enough for me. I just want to put up signs that say you people fucking suck. What's the big deal? Call it what it is. It's shitty behavior. It sucks. Make a TV commercial showing the shysters, the crooks, the bums, doing their little thieving and their shoplifting and their other fucking social blight, and call it what it is. Give a hoot, kick a poor person in the nuts.
I think that came out in 2001. It was called Bum Fights, wasn't it?
Well, whatever. I'm just saying it hasn't shown up in America yet. America is still fucking cuddling the poor, and it needs to fucking whip them into shape.
Don't have an answer for that one. Unfortunately, it's too complicated for my scrawny brain.
I don't think so. You're just being a pussy about it. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, just look, I understand this empathy thing, but there's a point where you have to really recognize that this will spread. It's a disease. If you don't stop it, it just increases. It just makes more of the same blight.
Yeah, but I probably am. You're probably right. I mean, I don't feel comfortable expressing my opinion on here, such as yourself. And unfortunately, the financial system is a fictitious synthetic thing that's been overlaid on a planet of monkeys. So those poor people had it foisted on them.
Granted, but we all, like I said, we both agree though that you can tell the difference between somebody who's trying and somebody who's not. Okay, somebody who's shoplifting isn't trying, are they? No, they're not trying.
I don't know, because I got told by my parents that if you're ever starving, you go and steal that loaf of bread.
Well,
But
I
when
know,
you
but we're not talking about that though, are we? I'm just saying, we know that most shoplifters aren't doing that. There's, I had them as neighbors. Okay, I mean, they're stealing $20 shrimp and shit. Okay,
yeah, I
they're not
agree.
stealing a loaf of bread. They're not stealing the minimum. They're stealing the maximum. Okay, they're stealing the value wherever they can steal it. Okay, and it costs society. They go to the store and buy some shit and then take it back 2 days later after they've soiled it.
Yep.
Like nobody has to pay for that shit. No, everybody has to pay for that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like shoe sales. People buy shoes for the wedding on the weekend and take it back on Monday and want their money, and they don't see a problem with doing that.
Well, I'm just saying, that is what it's got to be stated as. Well, if you think I'm supposed to appreciate that and I'm supposed to think that's funny, well, it came out of my paycheck, and so that's what they had to make. I'm just saying they should be making some commercials talking about the interest of working people, and they don't owe you anything, and if they give you anything, it's because they're damn generous, and you should be damn fucking grateful. So if you're fucking poor and you're on the dole, you should be damn fucking grateful, and you shouldn't be doing all this I have rights shit. You should be doing thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. I'm sort of reminded of, there was a David Attenborough video. I saw it about 15 years ago where there was 5 monkeys and they were in a dry riverbed, and one of the monkeys made a particular squeal that warned the other monkeys that a snake was coming. So the 4 other monkeys, they shot up a tree and they were looking for the snake everywhere, while the 5th monkey sat down there and continued to eat all the berries. It had basically lied and deceived to the other monkeys in the riverbed.
Yeah.
And I think,
Yeah. Well, I like the one when they throw a bunch of bananas on the ground, and they just, you see how many they can carry, and they start putting them on their, they start putting them on their head and shit, and they figure out all these, like, if I hold my arms out like this, I can put them on top of my arms, and, they think of all these ways to carry bananas, you're just waiting for the one who decides to stick one in his ass or something, but it is.
That's the thing, right? So those monkeys have adapted to cheat the system and to cheat each other, and unfortunately that's just what's going on with human
Well, I'm just
civilization.
saying, though. I'm just saying. Yeah, like I said, struggle is struggle. Blah blah blah. I'm just saying, you managed to have character as a human being. I managed to have character, not be a thief. I'm just saying, isn't that hard to figure out, not to be an asshole? And I'm just saying that we should be able to draw a line where asshole is the line. Don't be an asshole. What's so hard about saying that? Don't be an asshole.
There's actually a video of a YouTube of a comedian from Australia, and he basically just says the same thing. You don't need religion. You don't need the 10 Commandments. Basic rule is just don't be a cunt.
Yeah, this isn't that challenging a bar to jump over. Okay, this is like a Monty Python thing, with a bar that was an inch off the ground when they had that lunatic Olympics or whatever. Remember the retard Olympics? The bar was like an inch high off the ground. And the retards couldn't quite figure out how to jump over the 1-inch bar.
Yeah, good old Monty Python and the Life of Brian. Actually, I hope you don't get offended by it, but you're familiar with the movie The Life of Brian, right?
Well, yeah, it's like the top 10 list, right? It's top 10 movies ever made. Yes.
There's a scene where they're walking down one of the streets of, like, I guess it's Jerusalem, and there's all these people saying he's got 10 bladed knives and the demon with the 10 heads and all this bullshit. And it's like, yep, there's Gary up there telling everybody to listen to the quanta and the fish coming out, and nobody's listening. Everybody's walking past the important information.
The orb.
Oh, that's right. Worship the gourd and worship the sandal.
The shoe. Remember, the shoe fell off, and they all were, yes, follow the shoe.
Yeah, pretty. I think they should subject all people in primary school to watch that film.
Yeah, it is a life lesson. So
Oh.
Yeah, it's fun.
I like it when they pop in occasionally just to disrupt everything.
I don't. So we disagree again.
It allows you to bring order out of chaos when that happens.
No, I'd rather shoot them right on the street. So yeah, I would throw them off the lifeboat quite physically and vigorously. Yeah, I'd
There's
hit them with the
some
oar
road
100
paving.
times, really beat them really badly, just beat the shit out of them to a pulp, and then just shove them overboard and feed them to the sharks.
I wonder if actually I know what you need. You need an escape from New York style exile.
Well, we're heading there, right? Eventually, so yeah, I got my eye patch.
Probably.
I'm ready for Armageddon. I got I'll have my game face on when it's time to start killing. I'm ready.
I'm too much of a pacifist. I'll just run away. Run
You ain't gonna,
away!
you ain't gonna run away from me, buddy. Oh, hey, I got all your numbers. So.
I'm too far away. I'm down under.
Yeah, whatever. We can get to everybody eventually. Eventually, I'll get to everyone. Okay, and I'll
I
have the
actually
whole place to myself.
have you seen I'm sure you're an avid moviegoer. There was a film that came out about 2 years ago. It was a Captain America film and it had
Yeah, no, I only see movies that are at least 10 years old. But yeah, I haven't been to
yeah,
I haven't been to a theater in 40 years.
I thought so. So this Captain America film, basically America's got this mega weapon and it's an aircraft carrier that comes up out of New York or something and starts hovering around New York, and they've tied it to the internet, and it's looking at everybody's internet connection, and it's made a decision on who it's going to blow away based on their internet activity.
Yeah, well, that's good enough reason. Sure I have a list of, obviously I'll have a transgressor list, and anybody on the transgressor list will, I'll have my steamroller gassed up and take care of the business.
Okay. All right. Listen, it's too much for me to take. I'm going to go and have some dinner. Thanks for staying up so late.
Yeah.
I'll try and figure out some science questions to try and keep your mind stimulated.
Good enough.
Righto. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
See you later.
Okay. Likewise. All right. Perfectly adequate and such. So, kind of saved the day a little bit, mostly. So made a room that was utterly useless, at least a little bit useless. But yeah, I mean, it was a little bit too much political talk, but what the hell? It gave me an excuse to rag on the poor and the rich, which I do enjoy, mostly. And the trolls, of course. So anyway, it's probably time to go. So, MIC. See you real soon. KY. Why? Because we're getting paid, and that's what we do every week. And blah, 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 blah. However you spell Mickey Mouse. Blah, blah, blah. Well, it's a very sad song, actually. Very sad. Mostly. All right, so I'm going to go now because I've really overstayed my welcome. Or not. So till the next time. So which movie is on the thingy? Oh, it's a black and white movie, it looks like. Oh, it must be Scrooge movie. Oh, cool. Oh, no. Oh, it's that stupid Hunger Games. Might as well be a black and white movie. Yeah, they filmed it in like Darko Vision. Anyway. So, till the next time and such, and so forth and whatnot. Yeah, I'll hit the button now. Yeah, next time it'd be physics. No more of this bullshit. Probably. mostly.